So what did I miss?
Well, see, we can't go into too much because you might be going right through their footsteps. So
Okay.
I'm going to send Vaughn a message saying, tell him to get into the chopper. Oh, wait, he's not going to be here
He's
this week.
not here. Yeah, don't harass
Everyone's
him.
here. Why are we delaying? Why are we
I don't
delaying? Okay.
know.
All right. Well, so are we all mic leveled and everything?
Uh, Almost. Actually, my buzzer's about to go off, so let me go turn off my oven.
Okay.
Oh, and I am recording for the likes of Doot.
Yes.
Ruh-roh.
So our uh, 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 favorite audience of like 3 people can follow along, and not just with day after recounts on Twitter.
Back. I will just let my food
All right,
cool
welcome
till
back.
we break. Alrighty, are we dead yet?
Not yet.
No, I'm just making sure this has yeah, okay. Um, some stuff. Okay, so what we're doing this week is last week. There's not going to be much of a recap because the individuals that are present were not the individuals that were present last week. And I say that because sadly, Tyler Chen is going to look up in the sky and see a yellow box that says the words "Meanwhile," ... and then we're going to
Oh no.
cut back to what happened during that time, which is that Mr. Bits. We're just jumping right into it. All you remember hearing at first was hearing the phrase, "This is the sound of the atom splitting," inside your head as soon as you walked out the door to the gift shop, and then pop, everything went black. Pure nothingness. What you don't know is that your body slumped to the floor, neurologically non-responsive, and medics showed up, held your eyes open, flashed lights into the iris, no response. You're still breathing, but mentally checked out. So what happens is you don't really come to so much as your brain turns back on, kind of floating in your own mind's eye, which is an interesting experience, but not one that's unique to you before. You've had them a few times with some lucid dreams in the past, though never anything this potent. Floating in front of you, with you, it's kind of hard to have a spatial awareness of where your body is when you're just a thought floating around inside your thought head. But this other thought appears, a purple, almost translucent like a hologram head and neck. No hair, heavy, heavy brows. Where the eyes you would expect eyes to be is just sunken and flat, like there's a cavity for eyes, but there aren't any there. There's no nostrils. There's no nose. Just a flat pane coming down to where a mouth appears. And it looks at you again. Well, look is a strange term because it has no eyes, but it seems to be aligning what it would have been looking through with where your eyes would be. It says again these words, "This is the sound of the atom splitting," and then flickers out of existence like a hollow that just was turned off. And you feel this vibration, a buzzing, a thrumming, starting inside your bones, fleshing out through your body. The more you concentrate and think on it, the stronger it gets, to the point where you fear you might have crossed the point of no return and that you can't stop thinking about it anymore. And the more you do, it grows and grows in intensity. Finally, when you reach the point where you think you can no longer take it, you hear those words echoing in your brain, and there's a release. You feel a wave of yellowish energy fly out in every direction from your body, or what would be your body in this mindscape. But there's peace. Even though there's a lingering agony, it's not there anymore, and you find relief. Kind of like whenever you crack your neck that's been aching all day and it hurts so good. And then there's that relief. Except this is everywhere. Your fingers, your toes, your knees, your elbows, your armpit even. Then you find yourself floating in space. And you're while lost in thought, you connect a few dots, and that this flickering you got, this connection, was to another telepathic entity that was in a region. Whenever it flickered and disappeared, that was likely you leaving its region. Your eyelids flutter open, and you're in a white room. There's a very plain light, relatively small. It seems not like any sort of hospital kind of room you would expect in any way, shape, or form. Kind of glance around. Your head's still kind of throbbing a little bit. What I need you to do, though, is give me your smart and your hero, and we'll allow data analysis to see if you can piece together elements of your situation.
$12.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
12.
I think you might be letting go of your push to talk a little bit too early. I didn't I hear you start to speak, and then.
All right, I rolled a 12.
Okay, that time it was just my internet. Just type it in chat. This is sad.
12?
12. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. Pro tip: if you go to your Discord settings and voice and video, there's a push to talk release delay. You can turn that up to about, as far as I can tell, 650 milliseconds is pretty similar to the release delay that's in DDO that we're all used to having. Because if you don't set it that way, this like the millisecond you let go of the button, it's like, nope, you're done. I used to get cut off on Fantasy Grounds games constantly. Probably.
Is that better?
Seems to be.
Okay.
Let's hope my internet isn't too stupid on the first night we record this. Yay! So you roll a 12. That's more than enough. You kind of glance around. Takes you a second to piece together what's in your surroundings. Very, very slim. All stark white. There's a toilet. There's a sink. There's a chair. There's a bed. And there's a door, and the door is very much reinforced. And you look up, there's cameras in here. This doesn't appear to be a jail. This looks more to be a quarantine room. Back up at the top of the screen. Meanwhile, swipe back to Marge Aaron, who is presently, I believe, since this took place at around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe Marge would be at work.
I'm at the primate area of the
For
zoo.
once, she's at work.
For once, I just gave birth to a giraffe. I mean, assisted a giraffe in giving birth.
Yeah, but that was after hours. That was a freak after hours emergency call.
Oh yeah, well it's the zoo. There's like this work-life balance thing that's kind of cagey.
But so you get this phone call on your personal line. Um, at you pick it up or look at it, I should say, and notice it's um, not John Swanson, but it is someone from the same exchange as the Defenders HQ.
First, I have to deal. I'm at the primates. The primates have been misbehaving. They're kind of doing this thing where they're throwing their poo and making rude gestures with bananas again. So we've been having crisis talks, and unfortunately, there is like the talking rock, and I don't have the talking rock right now. So I have to get the talking
Oh, hold
rock.
on. Is that me? Let me
Yeah, I
reset
think
my
it is.
I missed the end of your statement as well.
Oh man, I just extended my push to talk time. So I had to get the talking rock away from Gabo the
Oh,
chimp
okay.
because they were basically chastising me for trying to answer the phone when I didn't have the talking rock. So there's this like little flurry of like, give me the rock before I answer the phone.
So you had to get away with it. And instead of getting to answer the phone, it goes to your voicemail. Is what it boils down to. Um,
Damn it, Gabo!
and as soon as you pick it up and it connects, and push one to listen to your voicemail, you hear, yes, good afternoon. This is Brian Schwartz from Defenders HQ. I'm one of the civilian assistants here. You're listed as the point of contact for emergency situations for hero-related activity for a Mr. Bits Burton, who has just been placed under quarantine at the Defenders HQ. And if you could arrive at your earliest convenience to discuss the situation, that would be a great help. Thank you. No callback number.
No, like no call. Was it blocked when they called?
No, the number was there, but you can imagine it's probably one of those, just like any customer service number. If you try and call back a direct extension, it's going to route you back to, the front. Press 1 to speak with a customer service representative kind of menu. But in the voicemail, there was no callback number left. Like, it's kind of assumed that you'll address the situation in person.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Do they know me yet? I've been like the least, it's been the hardest for them to contact me, get a hold of me out of everybody on the team. And you just say
Well,
that
remember
person's name was Brian Schwartz?
when you went through legal, it was just the two of you. So you kind of automatically you're like, yeah, sure,
Oh, I guess so.
they could be my point of contact.
Sure.
Like, I don't have anyone else to list. Sure.
So I called the number back that's on my phone.
Welcome to the Defenders of the City headquarters. Please press 1 to speak with an agent.
I sigh. Press 1.
Please hold.
I start like yelling at the monkeys about, they need to respect the people visiting the zoo and quit making gestures with those bananas.
Thank you for your patience. Your call is important to us. Your estimated wait time is 4 hours and 21 minutes. If this is about a public relations incident, please call your Defender's public relations agent. Thank you for your patience.
Are you kidding me? Okay, so I hang up and I text Mr. Bits.
Okay.
I'm like, just got a call from some Defenders Schwartz person. Is something up?
There is no response.
I text Shouta. Just got a call from some Defender Schwartz guy. Is something up?
You actually get a response from Shota faster than you ever expected, um, which is going to take longer in real time to do than it will in game time.
Ooh. Meanwhile, Gobbo the monkey runs over to like the clear kind of plexiglass um, spacer that the visitors to the Edgar G. Wren Zoo have to look through to see the monkeys. And he sticks his butt up against it. There's like shocked moms gasping, covering their kids' eyes and escorting them away. So while, Marge is trying to furiously text people, she's like chasing after Gobbo the monkey.
And since the whiteboard is on the recording, if I recall correctly, I put it on the whiteboard as well so the viewers
Oh,
at home can see. Yeah, your phone, boop, almost like immediately you hit send, and faster than you think that it could actually come back. Like you hit send, it goes sent, book, reply, and it's gibberish that you didn't even
is it?
know your phone had that alphabet. Like, okay.
Marge texts back RLY question mark.
An identical boop of gibberish instantly.
Marge begins to wonder if this is actually Shouta. I'm saying Shouta because that's how he spells it, but it's actually Shota, and I know that.
Well, it's yeah, well, it's Japanese. The OU makes it a long O. Shota, like
I
show
know. But see,
uta.
here's the thing. I was saying Shota, 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 but I was spelling it
And it
wrong, and
looks
then
like
I
it
was
says
like,
Shouta though. If
and then
you're
I got the spelling correct, and now it's like triggered something in my brain to start pronouncing it wrong. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna get on the same page with his name.
on his official character sheet, he actually has the katakana for it, which I didn't put on his.
Oh, see, that would make it easier for me to read it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm kind of picturing it right now. Okay. Oh no, wait, I was picturing it in hiragana. Okay, but all right. So I don't know anything about this message.
That's the kanji. That's not the katakana.
Yeah, that's not the katakana.
Look, translate from
Well,
Bulgarian. No, that's not it.
the ta I would recognize too. I would just be like something ta.
Anyway,
Anyway, I'll
so,
track because I'm like, what? There's something up.
for
And
those listening at home, it was our first bird walk in only 30 minutes. We're doing pretty good.
I know I have an assistant that I have named in this campaign, but I can't for the life of me remember my assistant's name. This is another reason why I'm recording. Because I like named an assistant, but I never like wrote it down, and then I didn't like make a note of it, and so it's been lost. Anyway, I tell my assistant, okay, to handle this monkey situation, and if Gabo keeps riling the others into misbehaving, he needs to have a timeout and have him like do a finger painting of some sort to try to get his feelings out.
Okay. All
And
right.
Marge is just going to have to deal with like the drama, the emotion that's happening amongst the monkeys later.
We'll just rename the assistant and keep it that way going forward. So, what's the assistant's new name or retcon
I
name?
think I do remember her name because I think I wrote a name down and I thought it was for D&D, but I bet it's not. Lariape Swain. Maybe that's my assistant's name.
Well, it's not a name I have written down for anyone else. So that's her name now.
Woo! She has a name. Okay, so Laripe, I like, handle this Laripe.
All right.
She's got to learn sometime how to, like, get the monkeys, using their words rather than their poo and their bananas.
So you're gonna let Felix know that you have
And then I'm
basically
going to
someone in the
stop
hospital.
by Felix's office and be like, okay, I have to go pick up something for Phineas, the elephant, at Elephant World. Don't ask. And he doesn't ask because he doesn't really care about what I do. And then I hop into my Volvo and I drive to Defender's headquarters.
Okay. Although there is one thing that happened last week. Actually, no, I believe this was before Reese went on vacation. Was the gaining the use of the official defenders of the city cars?
Yeah, but that's why I have to go to Defender's headquarters because I wouldn't drive one
I
of
don't remember if that
those.
was.
I mean, Marge is going to be driving her Volvo.
Yeah, we
Mar-
got that when we went for the nice dinner.
I think
Okay.
it was kind of like a rent a car kind of thing situation, though, wasn't it? Like borrowing one from the fleet.
Yeah, there's a fleet of purple vehicles. Basically look like purple Crown Victorias with a gray interior. And the image I had at the time actually had the I don't know if I can scroll back far enough. Oh, here it is. I'll put this on the whiteboard. The standard Defenders of the City motor pool car. Which looks like that. And you can basically check it out. And it does have the purple lighting effect on it as well. Um, you can rent them out. They don't really expect them to come back in one piece whenever there's villainous activity going along. There are other vehicles that you can check out or rent. Like there was a limousine that was borrowed. Um, the fancier cars you're going to have to pay for. Or if you want some modifications to it, you're going to have to pay for those. No reimbursement on it, with no insurance. Basically, like whatever you put into it, that's all you, boo boo. But so there are standard vehicles, but in this case, you're driving in your Volvo to the Defenders HQ. So you get there. Uh, as you walk, or actually, by the time you get to the main entrance, because you've driven into the car park, when you scanned in, they basically were like, ding, 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 individual arrived, and John Swanson is there, ready to meet you uh, from the garage door as you walk in the building. It's like, come with me, kind of like, you know, come along.
And
Do
Marge
you?
is like, Bert and Shouta are not responding to my text. Did something happen at the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory?
He holds up Bert's phone and goes, I know he's not responding to your text.
He's got Bert's phone. Okay, something bad happened.
That's what being in quarantine means. Yes, something very bad happened. Um, and as you're walking down the hall, they fill you in on as much information as they have, which is that uh, Bert, or sorry, Mr. Bits, Shouta, and Strikeout went to the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory to try and figure out what the Disco Emperor's thugs were trying to find when they attacked that location, while Smegmo's attack was being used as a cover operation. And as soon as Bert walked past the threshold of the gift shop, his eyes rolled back into his head. He went limp and catatonic, unresponsive, no neurological activity. They called for a medevac, pulled him back into the Defenders HQ, where they put him into an observation room. And once they did a cursory examination, trying to triage how bad it was, they went to get some, more medically proficient individuals, because heroes don't heal normally and have funny systems when it comes to recovery.
Yes.
Your typical civilians don't deal with. And while the nurses and attendants were out of the room, he just goes, well, let me show you what happened. And he holds up a tablet and taps a couple things and goes to a video file. And you see, it's a nice room. I mean, it doesn't look like your typical hospital room, but you can see there's clearly a bed in the center, and there's like a potted plant off in one corner, a nice soothing, babbling brook water machine, the type that you get at the chintzy, things that make the constant river noise as the water falls over the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful for sleep. And some aromatherapy stuff. There's a massage table, and some other devices that you're unfamiliar with. You don't know hero medicine, so you're not really sure what those are for. And the attendants leave the room on the video, and the camera is like looking down from the corner. And while they're gone, you watch him kind of tense up, like every muscle in his body goes rigid, almost like he's having a seizure, and his back arches on the bed, and a wave, and this is full color. So it looks like a concussive wave laced with bright yellow-green tendrils of energy flies out from his body, and everything in the room gets slammed against the walls. Some of the devices melt. The plant is just withered and looks like it's nothing but ash and blighted, crinkled wood, as though atrophy and decay has been accelerated in it to an insane degree.
That makes
Um,
March sad.
and then he's laying on the bed, perfectly content. And about a few seconds later, the video cuts out as you see attendants rush back in the room to be like, "What the, what the shit just happened?" And then the video cuts off. He goes,
March
"That's why he's in quarantine."
March asks John Swanson, did Shouta come back with him?
No, hold on. No, as far as we can tell, let me get back into John Swanson voice here. As far as we can tell, both Shouta and Strikeout continued on their investigation of the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory. They had looks like they medevaced Mr. Bits out and carried on with them whatever they felt their mission was.
You
We've had no
let
contact with them since.
you let Strikeout go?
Well, you guys did. So I mean,
Oh
you guys are the shinies. You guys are the
Does
shinies.
she
My job is.
does March have his phone number? I can't remember if March has Tyler Chen's phone number.
She would, yeah. Like
Um
you would all have exchanged numbers.
first
Actually, I
she
believe that explicitly happened at the bowling
Yeah, at
alley.
the bowling alley. She holds up her phone though and shows John Swanson her reply from Shouta, or text reply, and she says, "Do you have any kind of
And kind of looks at it like,
cryptographers
the
or
fuck is that?
people who are seriously good with codes or languages in the building? I would like somebody who is more well versed with language or code to lay eyes on this."
We can get a look at them. Have them take a look at that in a minute. But for
This
right
is
now,
what
we'll
I
be.
got as a reply from Shouta when I tried to contact him. So he's definitely in trouble, but certainly this seems like it might be a different type of trouble than what Bert is in. Though maybe I should show this to him. I might need body armor.
Well, the thing is, we've had him in quarantine ever since that burst happened. That was about at this point. Let me look at the timestamp on the video. He's about 2.5 hours ago, give or take. Um, he's been in quarantine ever since, and nothing's happened.
What are your quarantine protocols? Do you have like biohazard suits and stuff for that, where I could go
Oh
and
yeah,
try to talk to Bert?
that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed.
Okay.
And he takes you over to one of the central elevators, far deeper into the main compound than you've been before. This is a massive elevator bank, and he goes to one specifically, and you notice, unlike most of the other ones, which are just up down kind of numbers, this one actually has a complex keypad, a handprint device, and a retinal scanner. And he enters in like a 27-digit code, you know, puts his eye up to the retinal scanner, puts his hand up to the scanner, and then a few seconds later, clinks over to green, and the door slides open extremely slowly.
So a typical elevator.
Oh no, this makes a typical elevator look like Usain Bolt.
Oh, really?
This is like you stand there for a good minute while the door opens. Like so then you get inside and push some more buttons. Again, there's no typical just array of floors that you would expect on a regular elevator. Enters in a large passcode, which the elevator, in stark contrast to the door opening, in this case, you feel your stomach lurch up into your eye hole, and you're probably just shy of free falling.
What's it like inside the elevator carriage?
It is very armored. Like it looks like you could take that grenade that you pulled off the smegma goons and drop it on the floor, and the elevator wouldn't care.
Are there handlebars and like something you could like kind of strap in? Like, is it
That, that would be really, really wonderful. And as the it only takes about 3 seconds though for it
okay?
to go, and then at the very end, you imagine that Mr. John Swanson, the PR rep, who would have been much more familiar with this than Marge. He also, gets dropped. Looks like he's going almost into a 3-point crouch, and then gets up and is like, "Huh!" Like, uh, I never get used to that every time. Every time, man, they got to put some decelerators on that thing.
Marge makes a mental note to look for the suggestion box later.
Ah.
She's gonna be like
Shakes, shakes it off.
suggesting Trekkie handlebars or something.
Yeah, that'd be nice, something to hold on to, so we don't, hit our head on the flipping ceiling or whatever. I mean, every time, I swear, if you
Safety
jump in there,
first.
you're gonna be a pancake on the roof.
And nobody wants that.
So takes you in,
Same side, same side.
same side, man. There's a rather lengthy hallway with no discernible markings on it, at least not from here. Then, as you approach the first bank of doors on the left and on the right, they are marked QR1, QR2, QR3, etc. And he takes you down to QR14. And as he's walking by, he goes, "Welcome to the 614th floor." Or sorry, subfloor. This is the quarantine room where we put things that, well, we're not necessarily sure about that need to be contained. We have to keep it far enough below the city that nothing actually happens. Takes you over to QR14, which is on the right hand side because odd starts on the left. So QR14, you turn to the right, and inside there, it's a pretty ordinary looking room. I mean, it's got a white bed, a white chair, a white sink, a white toilet. Looks almost like a prison cell, but it's clearly got comfortable chairs, and there's a toilet seat, and blankets, But inside this, or on the other side of this very heavy door, which has probably got about, I'd say, 3 inches thick of reinforced glass on it, you see, um, in plain white scrubs, Bert, just kind of sitting on the bed.
So he's conscious?
Oh yeah, okay, he's awake. Bert, you're awake. You probably noticed because there's been nothing but nothing for at this point probably a good 10 minutes. You haven't been awake that long. Enough
Marge
to.
waves,
Okay. And Bert waves back.
and
Like,
I gesture for him to approach the window. Or is he like restrained or something?
No, no restraints.
Okay.
okay. I walk over to the window.
And John's gonna fumble with some keys and not keys. Fumble with an access panel next to the door and punch in a whole bunch of buttons. And then there's a klaxon, and the light above his door turns green, and there's what sounds like very heavy solid steel bolts slide into the wall, and then you can open the door.
Oh, we're doing that. Oh, okay. I thought there was going to be more protocols entering the quarantine room. Even
I mean,
even if it's a so-so quarantine at this point.
yeah, if you want to follow the, I mean, if you want to go through the big rigmarole and
No,
have to go,
no, that's
sign in,
fine.
I figured.
Let's just yeah. I mean, it's not like he has Ebola, right?
I mean, we checked and go, heroes don't get Ebola. I might get Ebola if he has Ebola, but hey, whatever. If you're fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Oh, I'm
Look,
fine with it.
I've been in this hero business long enough to also know there's a time, there's a time to show them and a time to fold them, a time to follow protocol, and a time to sit there and say whatever the hell happened out there. You got people that are probably in need of assistance, and you should probably maybe go check on them. I don't know. You guys are the heroes. I just
At this point, Marge is like, "Oh yeah," and she sends a quick text to Tyler Chen.
this actually takes a little bit longer because well, what Mr. Bits would know is that it's going through about 800 signal relays to get back to the surface and then back out and then come back down. So it takes a little bit longer, but you get actually, no, you don't get the same reply because Tyler's phone isn't that cool. All you just get is a black square. Because Tyler has a flip
Hmm.
phone from like 1997.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it. Tyler might not even have text.
Oh, he probably has text capability. He just can't really use it that
His
well.
account probably has some text on it, but I'm not sure his phone actually supports it.
It's got one of those ones where it has text, but it's 10 cents per
So
message
like
or
if you
something.
ever got a phone that, you know, supported text, the moment he like connected his account, he would get all of these text messages from like years in the past displayed for the first time.
So you just get a square,
Yeah.
black square.
Okay, she's like, and she doesn't
So
really
the
know what to
door's
make of that.
open, correct?
Yeah, doors open.
So
So I think Bert is going to be like, "What the heck just happened? What's wrong with me? Why am I in quarantine?"
apparently you lost consciousness at the Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory.
And John Swanson will hold a tablet out, the same tablet that he showed the video to with Mother Nature, and hold it out to you and let you watch your own laying in the examination room, and then sudden back arching and eruption of energy, a concussive energy burst that decayed the plants and other organic matter that were in the room.
Do you remember anything?
And I'm basically going to explain the visions that I had as far as the mouth and the statement about this is the sound of an atom splitting, but explain to you guys that I have no idea what this means.
You can kind of put two and two together though, and figure that what may have been that burst you felt and the sudden relief afterwards, which looked from your perspective in your mind's eye kind of like what it would have been if you were inside the bubble that spread out from you um, on the uh, on the video. Oh, I should also point out you are down one injury rank. Minor point of order.
Okay, so I'm at
Um,
5.
Yep.
and this hasn't really occurred to me before, but how how much does Marge understand the nature of Mr. Bits'
How much
superpowers?
does Marge under? Sorry.
How much does she understand the nature of Mr. Bits' superpowers?
As far as Marge has seen, I mean, he's very mental based. Like most of his abilities are involve telepathy or messing with people's
So I was
heads.
wondering how obvious that was from just observation. Like she knows that he can hack things and that he can get into security systems. And she knows that at some point in time when they've been fighting stuff, things have suddenly been racked with pain with no obvious visual cause.
That was, yeah, enemies have been, yes,
But does she
with no obvious
know
reason.
that that's Burke doing stuff? Like, because I feel like we haven't had this discussion necessarily.
In none of the and you've been in quite a few combat situations with
Yeah.
them. Nothing, anything remotely close to this has, like, you haven't even seen villains do anything to this degree.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering if does she know that his powers are mental?
I would say that they've been working together long enough to know kind of an idea of. I mean, I would imagine you would have chit chatted about it at
And
some
the few
point.
times I've been able to pull information back, I'm sure I would have explained where it came from.
Because Marge is going to be thinking Shota and Strikeout are still at the lab. They seem to be in trouble now. At least I'm getting that vibe. I'm not getting any response from them when I try to text them. Or in the case of Shota, I got this weird text, and then she shows this text to Bert and is like,
I
"Does
forgot to leave that. Hold on.
this mean anything to you?" It's on our whiteboard. At least, wait, did you put the same thing in Discord that's on the whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, what it means is, and Mr. John also handed you your phone back. So Mr. Bits
Okay.
has his phone and very quickly takes a screenshot of it, and or you forward the contents to him, and he posts it into some internet searches, and comes back with says that that means monkey licking banana snood bacon. That's what the internet says it means.
Okay, that's useful. I think we should probably have John Swanson run it through their code breakers and see what they can come up with, because obviously that doesn't really mean anything useful, at least not at the moment.
Well, I mean, if I thought that the monkeys had my phone, that would make sense, but I know that they didn't have my phone at the time.
Yes, and that would be what was super fast auto reply from Shota's phone.
And here's the other thing. Obviously, when you passed out, Shota and Strikeout weren't affected because they had the defenders pick you up or you got transported back to headquarters.
Right.
So, what would have made it affect you and not affect them?
It could be that my mental powers just made me more susceptible to it.
Now, Mr. Bitch, you would know that if it were a basically a telepathic sending, as a telepath, you can then basically send things only to other telepathic receptive individuals or to all beings in the vicinity. It would be very easy for an extremely strong telepathic entity to send a message just to telepaths, like that happen to be in the vicinity. That's not a difficult thing at all. Like, I mean, you could do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
If we're dealing with somebody who has mental powers, who's a telepath, what kind of precautions that can we make going back in to the laboratory to try to find out what happened to Shota and Strikeout?
One thing while you've been mulling things over in your mind here, Mr. Bits, well, before Marge showed up, um, a few things is one, you're pretty sure at this point, now that if you walked back in there, that you knew it was coming, that you could either just kill the transmission before it became an issue, or brace yourself enough to where you think it wouldn't necessarily knock you out.
Okay.
The other thing is in this period of nothing is while you've been waiting, you kind of thought and concentrated about that hum, that vibration that inside you that you felt while you were unconscious, and you noticed you can recreate that, but each time you just kind of let it get to, oh, okay, let's stop that before it goes crazy again, and it let go. Okay, all right, so you can kind of recreate that charge, as it were,
Okay.
seemingly at will. So that's just some information that you would know before she walked up.
Okay. Um, I guess I would have a question for John Swanson as far as do they have any protective gear that's available to us that would protect us from those types of attacks?
From psychic and telepathic stuff, not really, man.
No
That's some.
no Magneto helmet.
You can get a Magneto or Juggernaut style helmet, but I mean those are they're really expensive. They take a lot of fancy materials, and they take some time to make. It's not something that you just have like hanging around. I mean, maybe in the unclaimed dead hero gear vault there might be something, but that's not really catalog.
Maybe we should take a brief look through what they have. Or, hmm, do you have any kind of like generic suits? Especially because we're going into a particle accelerator laboratory. Maybe something that has some kind of basic shielding.
And you can get an NBC suit if you wanted. That'll protect you from nuclear, biological, and chemical stuff. Will not protect you, but like you're not gonna be immune to it, but it'll certainly help.
When you said NBC suit, I was like, does it protect us from a CTV?
No, no, it's actually a military thing. Stands for nuclear, biological, and chemical.
You can see how much we know about that. Yes, we need those suits.
Like here you go. Here's what some your I wouldn't necessarily buy this one that's $44.99 though. Yeah, if you look at these, you can tell which one's real.
We want the real one.
Trying to put it in the whiteboard. There we go.
We want the don't fall comatose suit.
Yeah, there's one that's $6,457 and one that's $44.99. Um,
Which one is more effective?
which one do you trust your life in?
I was thinking at least the DuPont level A, so.
If I remember from that one, it looks like it's a training suit, like it's not actually a real one, but designed to practice in.
But yeah, at least yeah, something that is suitable for the laboratory being full of Ebola.
I
All
think it's a
right.
bad omen that the Ansel one is 666 67.
So you guys leave the quarantine area, and while you're doing, John Swanson's tapping a couple things on his tablet, basically saying, "I'm just making sure you're released from quarantine under Mother Nature's recognizance. So if anything bad happens and the city gets plagued, sorry, Mother Nature, it's your fault." Um,
Oh, yay.
it's just legalities. We don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna happen, but he hasn't turned green and exploded again, so.
I'm sure he's fine. You're fine, right, Bert?
I'm fine.
Just let me know if you think you're gonna faint or something.
Will do.
What's really hilarious is right before we logged on, I did Murder by Night in DTO. So all the citizens at the door going like, I feel funny. Okay, so you go back up the elevator. Going up is nowhere near as bad as going down. I mean, you feel like you're being, your skull is being pushed into your kneecaps, but it's still not nearly as horrible a sensation. You get back up to the top, and he points you over towards an equipment section where you can, in fact, purchase NBC suits. Let's put those back in the whiteboard.
Purchase?
Yeah,
We have to buy our own stuff?
this ain't exactly standard issue equipment, man. I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's coming out of your bankroll from Well, you don't have the action figures contract yet. Well, Mr. Bits might. Mr. Bits does. That's right. He's got the action figures. It's coming out of your action figure dues, man.
Marge is like, she doesn't have action figure dues. And then she's like, okay, she could charge it on the Amex, but then Darren's going to see it. Which is a whole conversation she doesn't want to have.
Mr. Bits tells John Swanson just to put it on his tab.
Put it on your tab.
Yes. Mr. Bits is always broke anyway, so being broke isn't a big deal.
So Marge's like, thanks, but then now she's like, I gotta figure out a way to deal with this.
So now the question is, which option are you taking? Would that be the German military surplus one for $44.95?
No.
No.
I'm trying to decide between the ominous $666 one or the top of the line. I'm thinking top of the line is in our best interest.
I would say the same.
Okay, so you're getting Ansel level A rear entry. That sounds really bad. That's a real
That
bad
sounds
place
bad
to
too.
rear entry.
There's no good options here. Can we invent a suit? Do we have time to invent a new suit that isn't ominously named?
Oh my god. It really says rear entry. I'm putting this in Discord for people to review in the morning.
I'm so glad
I
I'm
mean,
recording this for Dude.
I know what it means. I know what it means, but that's a really horrible place for it to
Yeah.
stop. All right. So, you've acquired a full-on NBC suit, and with it comes a large manual on its operation and how to use it, along with a very quick a link to a very quick 10-minute video, which I'm assuming you both watch on YouTube.
Yeah. And Bert actually remembers all the details of.
Yeah, Bert, photographic memory, just
Memorizes the whole thing.
memorize the
And I
whole
run it
thing.
at 2x speed.
Right, yeah, you run it at double speed, got the whole thing memorized, you even got it linked on your phone if you need to. All right, you got it, you're good to go. It's not the full features, but it's basic operations, how to get into it, how to seal things, where the idiot lights are, how to freak out, when to panic, when not to panic, that whole kit and caboodle. And for the sake of simplicity, we're going to pretend that these NBC suits come fully charged, and we're not going to have to deal with oxygen levels and anything like that unless it becomes pertinent for anyone who wants to watch this later. So, you've acquired NBC suits.
And then Bert is going to check out a vehicle from the motor pool, so Mother Nature doesn't have to take her Volvo into the fray.
Please also add the NBC suit to your stuff section of your character sheet, and make a note that it is top line model. This ain't no $44.99 one. I would honestly be terrified of a $45 NBC suit. Like, what the hell are you going to protect me from? Mosquitoes? And you said you were checking out a vehicle from the motor pool?
Yeah, and I'm adding to my stuff section one maxed out credit card for the purchasing two UC suits.
Yeah, $12,000 in debt.
Marge is gonna try to start figuring out how to like do a discretionary fund.
Like this
She
action figure
she
be
has
better be way
concerns
baller.
this is going to involve her mother somehow and she's going to regret it.
These better be really cool and very popular lunch boxes.
Mr. Bits is preparing for top ramen for in the foreseeable future.
You're on the ramen diet for the time being.
Tyler Chen can get you jalapeno poppers really cheap.
Assuming Tyler Chen is still alive.
Yeah. Of course he's alive.
I don't know that. Marge doesn't know that.
Of course he's alive.
Okay, so you've acquired your suits. You've acquired a motor pool vehicle. What's the plan?
We go to the lab.
We're headed to be in peril.
I mean, I know that there's something really obvious that we've totally overlooked because we always do.
Well, see, that's the thing is, it's like the Waffle Crew. You wouldn't be the shinies if you went in and did not have at least that would have been smart comment.
Yeah.
You know,
If we actually did a job and we were prepared and capable.
like pretending to
So
be exterminators with no gear.
so so before we go, I'm guessing that Mr. Bits has already put on his uniform, but the can we get some sort of meter that will measure radioactivity and that kind of
Oh,
thing? Since we're going into
sure. That's really easy. You go over to another section of equipment, and then they've all got all sorts of random gear and various segments here, and you get sent over to the especially since you're already in the NBC section. You go over to radiation, and as soon as you walk in, you notice every Geiger counter starts going.
What?
great, I'm irradiated.
You walk back, and I mean it's not large levels, but it's definitely enough for it to go like you're registering. Or it appears one of you two is registering.
How about Marge steps out of the room?
It looks like Mr. Bits is somewhat radioactive now.
Woot! Now I really am shiny.
Well, not you look at your hands. You're like, I don't feel shiny or
Okay,
glowing.
in the dark.
Marge is relieved she's not planning to have any more children.
But yes, you can acquire a Geiger counter for not much here.
Do they have anything? Gosh, I feel really weird asking this. Do they have anything that uh could do an electromagnetic pulse or
You want an EMP?
yeah, an
You want
EMP
an EMP? Okay.
or oh, they got that?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet.
I got an EMP.
Um, gosh, is there something like the Ghostbusters have for trying to like detect psycho activity or something?
Oh, you want some ghost hunter gear? That's gonna be a little more.
Signs of
We're gonna have to do
life or whatever. Something, I mean, is there a way that we can detect your brain activity, Bert?
you want a tricorder. You want a tricorder, basically.
Yeah,
This isn't
we want to be
Star
able to
Trek. I'm sorry,
detect
though.
we want to detect people like Bert.
What do you mean people like Bert?
You know, using their brains to do stuff. That's not just walking around thinking, talking.
You want
People like
to detect telepaths.
yeah, telekinetic, telepathic.
We got a couple wands and crystals upstairs that can do that, but no offense, that's a little above your pay grade right now. The magical stuff is
Yeah, I don't really have a pay grade, do I?
oh yeah, you do. You remember your ID card? You have 5 little slashes on it.
Yeah, but I'm not doing all the lunch boxes.
Well, no, what he means is like
Oh, I
you
need to
don't
have
get
more.
it
I
at
need to
level
have
5.
more little diamonds on my ID card.
Bingo. Like Roger might be able to borrow one, but yeah,
They don't trust me. Well, which is understandable. It's
you
been a,
don't give
it's been a
things that
week.
don't exist. Yeah. You don't exactly give things to that don't aren't supposed to exist to the new guy. You know, like you don't give the new guy the keys to the atom bomb.
You've got an atom bomb?
I shouldn't have said that. And a minute or so later, one of the store attendants comes with a very large hand truck and kind of pulls it up and stops. Goes, all right, here's the EMP, and this thing is about 5.5 feet long. It looks like if you were to have a rounded coffin with tubes and pipes all over the place and one panel in the center. And it also looks that it probably weighs about 400 pounds.
Do you also have some kind of device that will shrink things and make them larger again?
Upstairs does.
Is that above our pay grade?
Yeah.
Damn it. We need to get a higher pay grade, Bert.
We're working on it, I think.
So, how heavy is this thing pushable? Is it on a wheeled dolly or anything like that?
You're not taking my dolly to the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory. That's my dolly. I bought that.
You let us have an EMP, but not the dolly.
You're
So,
buying the EMP.
oh
We're not
wait,
just letting you have it.
oh wait, how much does the EMP cost?
He kind of looks at you,
Uh oh.
suddenly suspicious, and
If you have to ask.
yeah, kind of has this. If you have to ask, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go put this back in stock.
Okay, I guess you're not getting an EMP. It's probably more than $6,000.
Yeah, we
Six
need to
thousand
talk.
dollars. You think I'm gonna sell an EMP for $6,000? You know how much this thing costs? Nah. You're not getting. I'm putting this back in stock. And he just like stomples off.
Yeah, we need to talk to John Swanson about our standard equipment list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a sword on credit. You're talking about an EMP, costumes and motor pool. Look, we're giving you access to a motor pool. You can take a car. We're not worried about the car. You're talking about an EMP here. All right, this isn't exactly a mass-produced item that you can get down at Elephant World. I mean, Llama Emporium has a fake llama-shaped fake EMP, but
Marge kind of freezes because she was already Googling it.
oh. No, it tells you it's fake. It just whirs and makes a big old pulsy bloom, and it's more of a party thing than anything else.
So she was looking for like a cheap, you know, build your own EMP at home kit.
Oh God, I can see some of the Googles here.
Damn it. All right. Well, I mean, what else can we do? Yeah, EMP was a stupid idea anyhow. I mean, it would probably just take everything offline and potentially cause a nuclear explosion. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Or maybe just open a black hole.
Mm, that probably
Uh,
wouldn't help the situation.
probably not. We probably wouldn't be worrying about me exploding.
But one last
Oh,
question. Do you have any apocalyptic cow repellent?
no, it'd be nice to spray the city around. Make a nice little preventive border around the city with it. But no, sorry.
Okay.
As far as
Just
some,
on the off chance there was something. Okay. I knew it was a wild shot.
Pointed note though, are you picking up a Geiger counter?
Yes.
Okay.
How much is it, or is it standard equipment?
That's not expensive enough to. Actually, how much is a Geiger counter? Let's find out.
How about a Geiger counter and maybe a metal detector? I don't know. What's a cheap
Oh
kind
yeah,
of sensor equipment since we don't have any
you can
tricorders?
apparently get one for $20 at Walmart. So yeah.
I think we want to go a little more upscale than
Marge
Walmart,
can
though.
totally charge that.
Well, I'm looking at various prices for them, and there's a super ultra special ops Geiger counter watch that's like 1,700. But even the most expensive one looks to be like 188. So like, and there's a lot of them that are between $20 and $50. So yeah, an actual Soviet military Geiger counter for $68. So yeah,
So
yeah, not even a it's not even a thing to consider.
Marge will pick that up
Okay.
and a metal detector. I don't know what she's going to use that for, but she's like any kind of sensor stuff that they could use.
All right, so you've got a Geiger counter, an NBC suit, a Geiger counter for one hand, and a metal detector wand
Maybe
for another one. So,
wait, can we get things like night vision goggles and infrared stuff and what
grab
those
uh,
Marge is
those
on a shopping spree.
a black light, a black light so we can
black
see.
light. You want a full NCIS kind of crime
Yeah,
scene kit?
totally.
Look for sperm samples.
This is our yeah,
We're
that's
going
what I was thinking.
to. We're following in the Disco Emperor's tracks here. I'm not sure you want to
Yeah.
know.
We gotta follow the clues, whatever form they may take.
Okay, so let's see what we've just because someone's going to have to keep track of who's carrying what.
She's feeling a
Uh,
little insecure and ill equipped for what's about to come since she had this great confidence that Bert was going to be able to just waltz into this lab, look at everything, remember exactly what he saw, describe it to her later, and they would be able to figure out all kinds of clues. But she's realizing that, okay, that did not work at all. So what are we getting her, what are they getting into going into this laboratory where it seems like Shouta and Strikeout have gotten into trouble?
and this is after the whole attempting to infiltrate and what's what I'm looking for? Infiltrate and subdue a pleasure boat armed with a bottle of hand sanitizer and a lighter incident.
Yeah. And this time when they go in, she is going to bring her ketamine dark gun
Okay.
because she wished she had that when they were trying to clear out the smegma building.
So and again, just to so what we've got is Mr. Bits and Marge both have the real deal top of the line NBC suit. There is a Geiger counter, a metal detector, a black light, and one set of night vision goggles. Or is Mr. Bits going to get a set of night vision goggles too?
I'll get a set of as well.
Okay.
We're geared
So
up like we're like Ghostbusters.
basically, um, now here's the thing though. When you get to the Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory, your gear can be stowed, that's fine. You're not really going to be able to hide an NBC suit. Um, so you're basically just going to be like walk in with it draped over your shoulder or wearing it.
Can we act like there's been some incident and we're supposed to be there?
Well, no, I'm sorry. Mr. Bits has already been, at least to the gift shop, and has been recognized, and the staff watched him get medevaced out. Um, it's only
So,
been a few hours
I
at
mean,
this
I
point,
can't
so
remember I think when people were approaching this place before, they just basically veered right instead of going left. There wasn't
Well,
much involved with the sneaking into the other area of the laboratory that's not open to the public.
oh yeah, no, there was a big, huge gift shop that basically you guys walked in, introduced yourselves, said you were on official defender's business, and needed to check things out at the lab. Uh, with some really great persuasion rolls, the staff was like, "Okay, sure," and opened the door to the back. At which point, yes, there was a sign pointing to the right that said "Museum and Attractions" in big, giant letters pointing to the right, and a dark and slightly creepy hallway curving around out of sight to the left, which had absolutely no markings on it whatsoever.
So we could do that again and just carry our stuff with us in a big bag.
Well, I mean, if that is the plan to basically walk into the gift shop with the bag
Well,
and
at
just
what
kind of
point did Bert pass out again?
uh, after being admitted through the gift shop, they opened the door. He walked into the hall and then went down. So he had already been granted permission to the hallway.
So, Bert, do you feel capable of girding yourself against a second attack while changing clothes?
I think so. I think so. I've been thinking about this a lot as I was kind of passed out, and I think I've got a feel for what I need to do. But of course, I won't know until I'm in that situation again.
It's kind of like basically what happened is if back in the high school jock days, basically you got telepathically kidney punched by a dick jock, and you're like, all right, I'm watching you for you now. Like that's not going to happen twice.
Marge throws out the juice boxes she carries in her bag because she's not going to give those to the kids later because they're going to a radioactive area.
Different car. You took one of the um, motor pool cars.
No, she has some in her like bag stuff too,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
as well as in the Volvo. So she wants to make sure that any snacks and stuff she normally has in her bag for the kids.
Oh, so she wants to make sure her ecto cooler isn't actually glowing.
Yeah, like she doesn't want anything domestic that she has on her person in addition to the supplies they've the specific hero supplies gear that they have accumulated. She didn't want to take anything home, basically.
Okay.
So I guess she'll leave her. Here's always the question: does she leave her phone in the car or does she bring it?
Now, while she's deciding that, one thing to note is I'm assuming Marge is driving to the or is Reese driving? I mean, Mr. Betts driving. Who's driving?
I think Mother Nature, considering what I've already been through,
Okay.
probably not a
Okay.
good idea. If I should happen to have a seizure in the middle of on the way.
One thing you notice as you're driving and cruising over there, because you got about 30 minutes to get across town, is playing around with the Geiger counter. Is you kind of notice that as you sit there and let yourself relax, it's almost like a biofeedback machine. You can calm your mind and go, and listen to it fall off to nothing. But then the more you think about that hum, that inside your bones, you watch it spike up and go, and then you let it off and it falls back down. So it's like you can,
Is that how radiation normally works?
you don't even need to make a science roll to know.
I, Marge is,
Absolutely in no way, shape, or form is
yeah.
that normally how
I'm
radiation
like,
works.
Marge is, that's what I was thinking. Marge would be thinking that that's not normal.
Like, A, radiation doesn't do that, and
Normal half
B,
lives happen with radiation.
right, and you're not. He's not. Um, bodies typically don't produce that level of radiation. That's not something that, organic matter typically just like emits, because it's not like an electric eel, it's
So Bert was bitten by a radioactive llama, is what I'm hearing.
um you're not entirely sure.
He's gonna turn into a llama man.
Llama
No.
man, llama
No.
man.
He's gonna be able to climb up very steep surfaces.
Yeah. No, as far as I'm aware, at this point in the game, there are no radioactive llamas.
Okay.
Oh,
Unless Mr. Bits goes and gives a hug to Llama Emporium.
we can only hope and wish for the mutant llamas.
My
We
superpower is I can make sweaters at will.
don't.
So, before we get too far into the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory, it is 10:30. So what we typically do at this point is take 2 to 3 minutes to refill beverages, run to the bio real quick. May not actually take that entire time, but since we're not live, I guess it doesn't really matter, eh? Does it?
Yeah,
Right.
this is when I should have some elevator music that I could play while we take a break.
Oh,
Maybe a little music version of some Iron Maiden. That would be nice.
we could put it in post. Okay, BRB.
Be right back.
The bird explosion. So, if we're all back here and all mic'd up,
Yeah.
I figured Marge might have been stuffing dinner in.
I am, but I'm going to strategically talk.
Okay, that works. That works. So, just to fast forward everything, you come into the gift shop. Whether you're fully decked out in the NBC suit already or going to change in the hall, whichever, doesn't really matter. Basically, Mr. Bits kind of gives a glance at the clerk, who kind of like nods over to the door, like, okay. Um, it's only as you approach it the second time that you realize above the door that they're quote unquote ushering you through is the one that says to museum and attractions. Like, everyone can just go through the door. Like, they're sure, go through the door. No problem. That's to the museum
No
anyway.
persuasion check required.
Yeah, not really. Like, okay. Um, it's kind of like persuading the doorman to let you into the hotel. And it's just like, okay. Um, in this case, you walk through. Are you decked out in the NBC suits in the hall, or are you not wearing them? This is one
Well,
thing to.
wait. So we don't notice that this door is for everyone before we go in.
Reese did. Sorry, Reese. Mr. Bits did on his second time through. This would be your first time
Because
through
we might as well put
Mother
the
Nature.
suits on before we go in the door if everybody can go through.
Yeah, there's no security at this door.
And if they,
There's the big sign. There's the big sign on the other side that's, pointing to the right, to museum and attractions, and brightly lit hallway to the right. And then there's the left, which is just kind of obstructed in shadow, and it turns around the corner out of sight, and no markings, just kind of there, hiding in plain sight.
Other than the readings that you're getting from Mr. Bits, is there anything showing up on the Geiger counter?
Depends if are you ramping it up.
No.
oh,
No.
I will.
Oh, we lost
Marge will
Mr.
put
Bits.
on her suit, and she'll be like,
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
So yeah, the question was, are you ramping up your concentration to make it register, or are you just kind of letting it idle.
I'm trying to be calm and so that I'm not registering on the Geiger counter. I want to know what's in the environment.
Okay, so you're calm. As right now, the baseline appears to be normal.
I'm thinking if we walk in there with suits on, we're probably going to freak some people out.
Well, it also occurs at this point that, to at least to Mother Nature, that, and probably to Mr. Bits around the same time, that since the only one who can really tell if Mr. Bits is vibrating, so to speak, is him, he's probably the better one to carry the Geiger counter. Because Mother Nature, you like if you get a reading, you won't know if Mr. Bits is just irritated because he's got an itchy ear or
Okay.
something.
Okay. So Mr. Bits will carry the Geiger counter.
Something kind of it's one of those things, like in development, you realize as you're going through, you're like, you know what? Actually, you should probably have this. Come to think of it.
Well, and Mr. Bits really doesn't need his hands to engage. So,
Not really. No, you can hold your Geiger counter and put your fingers to your temples at the same time.
Here's a question. Once we go through the doors and we have our NBC suits on,
Uh huh.
is there any way Marge can actually use her vines at that point since they're sealed off?
Uh, Not really. She can still call. You're pretty confident you can still call lightning down with nature's wrath.
Okay.
But your vines kind of bunch up in your sleeve, and you're like, oh nope, that didn't really
Yeah. Okay.
slither back down your back to the creepy whence they came. I have this mental image that they're kind of like Baraka, and they just kind of like come out of your forearms and slide down the sleeve, and then out into openness. I mean, just one of those things that you just never really address the where it actually came from. Bit.
It's better that you don't know.
They came from the quivering quiver. Okay, so you're in the hallway.
we're in the hallway.
To the right, in your NBC suits, Mr. Bits has the Geiger counter. Mother Nature has the metal detector wand, which I'm assuming you have off because otherwise it would go completely banana sandwich right now. To the right, museums and attractions brightly lit. To the left, Mr. Bits, you do recall from the last time you came here that you were instructed if you had to go to the lab to go to the left. And
Yeah, and I think before we get too far into this, Mr. Bits wants to see if he can get into the security system.
okay, all right. What I would need from you then is we're gonna get our first die roll of the evening. Holy cow! It's been a while.
Oh, that's why I've been doing so well.
Well, you know how it is. Some games you have like fights with Harakuda and you're rolling 25 times a second, and others you don't. Um, so what I would need for you to
So
do is
smart
give me your
hacking and hero.
yes, sir.
15.
15. Well, hot damn. Okay. You notice it was pretty tricky, but you tapped into what seems to be a security matrix, and you're like, all right, all right. Um, Give me a follow up. Just smart. Actually, this would be smart data analysis and hero.
12.
12. Good enough.
Is
You,
data
you, you,
analysis his skilled
that's his mundane
My
job
mundane
skill.
job
mundane
skill.
job skill, trained job skill, or whatever?
hmm Oh, speaking of which, before we get into that point of order, we need to talk about Bert's age.
Bert is 22. It's on the it's on his
Yeah, I
sheet.
know.
We
I
feel you
know.
should be older.
Yeah, he acts more like 32. He's the dad of the group. He's more like 32. Uh, we'll
I'm okay
chat.
with that.
We'll
I'm okay
chat.
with that.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, if you think 22,
It's like
22 is more like
Tyler
right
and
Tyler and
Shota run
Shota.
around like they're 22, but
Yeah, they're 22. Whenever we were at Dino Tel and you're like, "Come on, kids, I'm cutting you off." Like yeah, he doesn't behave 22. Um, anyway, so that was just a point that we were chatting about on the side as I was looking at everyone's sheets. I was like, 22, really? Oh my god. Yeah. Anyway, so that's enough for you to sit there as you tap on your phone and go through some security measures. First off, it was a pretty challenging matrix to get into, but you cracked into it and you're in and looking around. But as you're flipping through the cameras and all the information that's available to you, um, you're basically going and going slides, scan, slides, slide, swipe. This is all useless shit. It's all the museum. There's no, you're watching, snot-nosed kids walk around with cotton candy in their hands, poking at, atoms, uh, families out on vacation. There's a school trip, field trip in one of the accelerator laboratories, watching two particles collide, and that kind of sets your eyelid twitching a little bit, but you're not really sure why. But not a single thing looks anything remotely laboratory. It's like you're browsing through the museum.
And I don't see any sign of Shota or Strikeout.
No. Although it would be a fair measure at this point, since you guys were intending to walk in and go left. Basically, you've tapped into the security matrix of the right hand side, like you haven't gotten to the lab. You can see as you're browsing around the networks and available connections, there are hundreds of other establishments now that you're poking around looking for it, and you're like, this is all the museum. I don't need that. And you dismissed it and are poking deeper. You can see them, but they're in some measure of encryption you didn't even know existed and wouldn't even begin to comprehend.
Okay.
Like
So
you're
I let Mother Nature know that we're more or less blind, that I can't see, that I can't get any visibility into the labs.
like you're used to working in, and the highest you've gone, you're like 32-bit encryption's a joke. 64 is meh, whatever. 128, you're like, all right, I'm a baller hacker. No, you're like, this is like 2048-bit encryption. Like, I don't even know what. I thought 512 was military grade. Yeah.
well, why would they be more than military grade?
Well, as we went into some of the lore last week, but that wasn't on a recording for everyone else. And Reese wasn't here for it. Sorry, Mr. Bits wasn't here for it. As far as the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory, which is a dream location for many sciencey types, Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory houses the most state-of-the-art and experimental research equipment in the country. Many major developments, and if we're being honest, major mistakes were made here, and most of them are immortalized in the on-site museum, which is open to the public. Of course, if one were to listen to the thousands of conspiracy theories about the laboratory floating around the internet, it's also covered for a secret government research and test facility that is working on human genome manipulation and is manufacturing all manner of weapons of mass destruction. But the laboratory denies all of these claims. So, that's just common lore that you would know as members, civilians of the city.
Shady. They're shady.
Well, it depends on who you believe.
Marge believes they're shady.
So,
I mean, being someone who is a type of scientist or somebody who is trying to develop new ways for the conservation of species and the care of exotic animals, she knows a certain level of, you know, the scientific method and the
oh,
amount
sure.
of certain transparency and openness that she expects in
Right.
terms
This
of
one,
publication and review, etc. And the fact that this is an organization that is doing experimentation outside of those normal boundaries of publication and review.
well, the thing is that they did publish a paper, but it was the last paper they published was probably 15 or 20 years ago. It was about some incredible breakthroughs in the human genome and cracking its code. Um, but, as you said, the fact that there's been no publications, no peer review, nothing coming from them, like credible places will publish their results, and even if they haven't published anything, will publish editorial things about their research methods. Like, this is what we tried and it didn't work. Um, because the whole thing of the scientific community that's up front is we're all about sharing
Right.
knowledge and expanding. And
Someone might come across a great new idea that they feel has merit, and but then they publish it, and then other scientists, examine that idea, and it has to kind of cascade through the community before and grow and be built upon before it
right,
produces anything.
And Bob writes an idea and a theory that triggers something in Marie's mind, and Marie sits there and goes, "Oh wait!" And Marie gets checked by Joanna, and then Steve comes over from left field and is like, "Both of you had great ideas. Now try this angle," and that's how it all collaboratively works. This place has been on lockdown for the last 19 years.
So Marge is super dubious of whatever they're up to.
So you're right. Yeah,
It
Marge
can't
would
it can't be good.
naturally yeah, after that, yeah, Marge would naturally be suspicious as hell
She would naturally
of
think
this
that
place.
they're up to something unnatural.
Like,
And Mother Nature don't play unnatural.
yeah, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature, and yeah, so she's walking in expecting some shit out of Ridley Scott's Aliens. Mr. Bits, where you guys are just at this point standing in the hallway, looking at the to the right, to the museum, to the left, to what has been told the labs,
We have to
and yet
turn left, right? I mean, if we just go right, we're
and
going to the museum, and
which Mr. Bits has already scanned through on the security systems and from a quick surveillance has found no signs of either Strikeout or Shouta, and both Strikeout and Shouta are very recognizable and colorful. So,
we should go left.
Mr. Bits, have we lost you? I haven't heard anything in a little bit. And I'm looking at your icon fluttering on the whiteboard. Priest!
We have lost Mr. Bits.
I think we did. Yep,
We
there he goes.
did!
We did lose him.
Oh no, he's gone to another coma.
This is the sound of the atom
Oh
splitting.
no! I'm getting flashbacks. Home alone in the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Laboratory.
Both of your characters are home alone
No!
with unconscious people. Uh-oh. This might not end well. Give him a second here to
To
reconnect.
reconnect.
There he is. I think.
Sorry about that. My PC
There we
decided to blue screen and crash.
Oh,
Oh,
that's not good. Okay.
I'm so
Yeah, we
relieved.
yeah we recognized the absence, so we're kind of hanging out, waiting for you to get back. So I don't. To summarize, we were saying you were just still in the hallway. To the right was the museums and attractions. Mr. Bitts had already scanned through and did not find any signs of Shouta or Strikeout, both of whom are very visible and obvious to pick out in the crowd. And to the left is the lab, which curls into darkness. Chinese, or half of Chinese, because you never split the party,
Unless you need to deal with stuff at work.
right? Oh no, we didn't lose you again, did we? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I think I'm back.
Okay. We're concerned here. Just to make sure you're in sync, I need you to say the word taco.
Taco.
Okay. Just make sure there's no like 5-minute voice lag like some other games end up incurring. Um, okay. So you're in the hallway. To the left is the lab. To the right's the museum. Chinese. What are you doing?
Going left.
All right. Mother Nature takes off to the left, down the darkened hallway. It's a very long hallway. From end to end, it's about 100 feet, but you notice it curves and is specifically curved just gently enough so that when you're about halfway down, you can no longer see the entrance of the hallway. So it's just intended to break line of sight from one end to the other. As you continue to the end, uh, it culminates in what appears to be an extremely large vault style door um, that is question suspiciously wide open uh, in the upper right and upper left either corner of the hallway are two security cameras which whir and click as they refocus on your presence, but it appears to be wide open.
Wait, what?
Yeah, wide open. Oh, on the other side of the door, however, let me put it that way. What you see is a catwalk which descends downwards and to the left. It does not appear that there's anything to the right on the catwalk in any way, shape, or form. I have an image I should scroll back and get.
Okay, I'm back, I think.
Again?
Yeah. So 2 reboots later, I think it's happy again.
Fingers crossed. So we're apparently at a door that is wide open and there's some little zip zip cameras.
No.
Some little.
Basically, if you would imagine a large bank vault door with two cameras on the upper left and upper right hand corner, the vault door appears to be wide open. Looks to descend into a catwalk going down to the left. Um, there's a little panel to the a little control panel to the right, but it seems to be dim for the time being. And what it descends into, I put that in the whiteboard. It looks to be like imagine that with a spiraling ramp descending downwards. At various points, there are doors, and this looks like a silo style shaft that descends down into absolute darkness. You can't see the bottom, and it's rather quiet in here.
Bert, are these some of the cameras that you connected to? The ones that are outside the store? Or were these some of the ones you couldn't see through successfully?
Those are the ones I couldn't see. I could only see the ones in the museum portions of the building.
Yep, he has definitely notified you that nothing laboratory style
I wasn't
has.
sure if it was like if it included these or if it was beyond these.
These are included in the nope.
Can we look at the door that's ajar? Like, what's the closing mechanism?
As far
What's
as you're aware, this door, which, by the way, for everyone trying to visualize this, imagine a huge bank vault door. This thing is probably about 3.5 to 4 feet thick. Looks like some sort of bomb shelter. Um, think Fallout, think bank vault, think crazy, insane, humongoloid door. Um, it is currently standing wide open, and you know what? Roll me a smart check. Just smart and hero.
just smart here? Is there? I'm also like wondering. Is there's no way? This isn't the. Of course, this isn't the kind of door you can just put like a piece of gum to keep it from like latching.
No, no, no,
But if I
no.
stuck like the metal detector in the doorway, would it like just get crushed?
You looking at this door, even probably weighs close to about 7,000 pounds. And you look at your metal detector and go, yeah, door wins. Door doesn't even roll.
So that's a no, huh?
Uh,
12.
yeah. This
I roll
this is
an 11.
okay. This door appears to be something that would restrain Apocalypse Cow. Let's put it that way.
Well, if only we had Apocalypse Cow with us.
No, I mean like it would restrain Apocalypse Cow. Like
We
if it
would
was
well
locked.
at the very least we would be ahead one secured Apocalypse
Oh, you
Cow.
want to put? Oh, I see. You want to put Apocalypse Cow in there and then close the door. Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
will be a thought for later. So this
It's a thought.
keypad, is this the kind of keypad that Bert can learn things from?
It's dim. It doesn't appear to be on or responsive for the moment.
Unresponsive, or does it appear to have no power running to it?
Bert with a 12 on a smart can go over and poke around. It looks like there's power to it. You can see because there's lights on, like green lights on panels at certain points. Um, but it appears to be in a sleep or hibernate status, and you're poking and prodding various things. It doesn't appear to be responding.
Bert, do you think it can disable this? Or is
Um,
that more a thievery skill?
well, I mean, if it doesn't seem to be powered on, I'm not sure.
Well, it seems to
Uh,
have power running. There's like green lights and stuff, so there's some kind of current running to it. It's just not active.
can I do a perception check to see if this is something that I could figure out?
Yeah, that would. Let's see. At this point, give me either science or hacking, whichever.
Oh, in that case, can I do a science check?
Sure. It appears to basically be like the best analogy you would have is it's like a laptop that's in hibernate or sleep mode. Like there's power to it. You can see there's power. You just don't know what the magic
How to
thing
wake
is
it
to,
up?
yeah, how to wake it up.
I got a 13.
Okay.
I rolled a 13 as well.
Yeah, you're both kind of running through the same sequence of your checks. Push this button, maybe swipe, maybe handprint. You're trying kind of along parallel lines, and it doesn't seem to respond.
And
Can I do a telepathy check to see if we're alone here? Are we far enough away from the museum patrons so that I wouldn't pick up a crowd?
Well, you're literally about there's 100 feet around a hallway, so there's a relatively reasonable distance.
I'm going to take out the black light just in case uh, the Disco Emperor's been here.
Okay, she's Mother Nature's slotting him, passing him the black light. Now, one thing Mother Nature knows before I'm going to bounce back to Mr. Bits is even with the black light, some things are black light reactive. There's a little bit of spittle or what have you, some sort of bodily fluids, sweat, if you will,
Yeah, like,
responses from cleaning fluids
do I have that spray stuff like, you would use in forensics to
to
get
make the red, to make the
fingerprints?
blood.
Yeah, not
Sure, yeah,
that stuff, but also
Luminol.
like fingerprints and luminol and that kind of stuff to try to detect keys that have been pressed on this keypad.
sure. You got all the good old luminol. We're gonna pretend we're just
We
gonna call it
love
luminol
luminol.
because yeah, we're not getting we're not gonna be sued yet. Um, so you spray around luminol, nothing is responding, and you even do a little control. You know touch the keypad, spray the luminol, shine a black light over it, just as a control because your fingerprint that you just put there should be there.
Yes, it should.
You're kind of staring at the keypad for a second while Mr. Bits is doing his thing and realizing it's not. And this place is not shining anything on your blacklight. It is immaculately perfect, clean, down, sterilized down to the molecule. Like nothing natural is this clean ever. And I'm sorry, Mr. Bits, you were going to do something before we jumped onto that train.
I was going to do
You're at.
a telepathic scan to see if there
Oh,
are any
that's right.
people in range.
Um, Go ahead. Roll. That'd be your smart and telepathy and hero.
13.
Okay. You kind of close your eyes, sit there and think for a second. Let the senses, your sound dull away, bleed away. Put your fingers to your temples, even inside the NBC suit, and you reach out and you feel the presence of the people in the gift shop, the employees, the randos walking around. Further away, kind of hazy, you start just the edge of the people in the museum. That's just at the edge of your perception, and then bringing your attention down into the darkness. There's something incomprehensibly massive down there. You
A
don't really
living
have
being?
it's you don't really know if it's living, if it's dead, what it is. It's just a massive, like you see individual, like you can kind of telepathically, mentally look over through the ether and see uh, Mother Nature standing right next to you, and her mental signatures, and she's like a little a sparkly speck, right?
Oh,
Um,
great.
and other people are sparkly specks, and then there's the hesitant specks, little bits of little flecks of glitter at the edge of your perception from the museum. What you are picking up from down below is like looking at a spotlight from across the street in a foggy night, like just this well of telepathic presence. You don't know what the fuck this is. I mean, you're still learning how telepathy works and things, but that is just a wellspring of telepathic power, and you've never heard or experienced anything of that nature before. But you can kind of maybe guess that it may be that face thing that you saw.
Did I lose you?
No, no, I was actually paranoid I lost you. Did I get lost?
No, I heard you talking about
Okay.
what he's detecting.
Okay. Uh, what was the last thing you heard?
That I could that I'm realizing that it's probably the thing that reached out to me previously. That it's the
Oh,
voice
okay.
that I heard.
Okay, yeah. Well, probably the voice you heard or related to it. That's at least a tenuous thread. So there's that.
Can I do I get any sense of the presence of Tyler or Shota?
Uh, uh, not really. Not from this. Not from here.
Hmm. Marta's number one concern is this. What does Bert say anything to me about what he's sensing?
Yeah, I let you know that basically I'm not feeling anything near us or any human beings, guards or anything near us, but that I'm getting the feeling of a very large presence down below. I'm
How
not sure what it is, but
do
it
you
seems
can you
pretty
tell how
powerful.
far down below?
From judging, okay, judging from what you've. Is this the first time you're really trying to like gauge distance as this is used? Um, you can see Mother Nature quite clearly as a little glittering mental speck um, right next to you. 100 or so feet away in the gift shop. They're dimmer, but you can still see them distinctly. Probably you'd say 300 feet away in the gift shop. They're barely visible little flecks of glitter. Um, this thing down below is it's kind of like trying to gauge the size of the Death Star. Like you don't know if
That
it's
big?
well, you don't know what I'm saying is he doesn't know if it's you have no scale, no scale of reference, no point of reference. It's either really massive and maybe 50 feet below, or incomprehensibly powerful and it could be miles. You don't. Uh, no point of reference at all.
Well, what can we do but start searching? My only
And
concern is this door is a vault, and we don't know how the keypad operates. So, what's to say it's not going to shut behind us? Mm,
Well, and if that tunnel that we're seeing is what's on the other side of that vault door, then we're walking into the particle accelerator, which is not what we
oh,
want to do.
I'm sorry. You may have been disconnected for that. Imagine a spiral ramp going down, down and down and down, going all the way down, with doors set at various points, and descending into darkness. Um, there are strip lights on along various panels on the wall to keep it from being pitch black. It's dim, you can see, but you can't see all the way to the bottom. And like I said, there are doors, a number of doors you can see. From right here, you can see at least four.
Okay, so this is a shaft down, not a tunnel out.
No, no, yeah, it is definitely a shaft down. I'm sorry, that probably was one of the reboots, but yes.
So, Bert, you detect this really large, powerful presence down below somewhere.
Yes,
You can detect me staying beside you?
I can. I can.
Can you detect anyone else in the lab? I mean, you said you couldn't
I was
tell Shota or Strikeout.
according to what I could see, the closest other human beings were in the gift shop.
Wait. Nope. As you're
Okay.
kind of like moving your mental focus around, kind of scanning a little deeper, There's one glitter uh, a little bit down from you and far off to the west, in the opposite direction of the gift shop. But just one little glitter.
Okay, and the door at that level corresponds with a passageway going to the west.
Uh, you would guess it's kind of difficult when because you have to close your eyes and concentrate through your mind's eye to see, and without visual representation, you're guessing it could be that first door. It might be a door a level or two below, but it could be that first door.
Am I
Kind of
too
hard to
far
close.
away to actually attach to that person?
Yeah, it's just like a glittery
Okay.
speck.
So,
You can just like detect it.
So I express this to Mother Nature and let her know that I can see one other person that's in this area of the building, but that they're down below us and to the west.
And what we had decided on, and this is, of course, for those listening at home, this is an alpha. We change things as need be. But one of the things we decided upon was you can attach, affect, and detect, or you can attach and affect people, but you need some form of visual contact with them. Like you can do it through monitors and security cams, but you don't have any direct or indirect contact with this sparkle that is way
And
off.
now that we're in the lab, can I connect to any systems, any security systems or networks here?
Are you active? Have you gone through the door into the
no.
shack?
At least Marge hasn't. Because Marge is still contemplating whether or not she wants to zap the keypad.
Hmm.
Because Marge is concerned about this door. I mean, you can't trust an open door. And she's concerned about their ability to get back through the door when they want to leave.
I am reminded back in like episode 2 or 3 or session 2 or 3 when she was considering attacking the radar system of the pleasure boat for the HMS Jive Diver
She was
and
gonna
creating an
like,
act of domestic terrorism and just like light it
yeah,
up.
certainly. And then she was also like considering like, using a lighter to set off the smoke alarm things and the sprinkler system.
Well, that is not an act of domestic terrorism. Creating a lightning bolt to attack a boat that hasn't done anything while it's docked. Anyway, that just
Anyway,
made me think of that. That's a little giggle. Um, so carry on.
ugh. Okay, well, let's go through the completely suspiciously open door. I mean, there's nothing on us that we could possibly put in the way to prevent the door from closing. We have no idea if it's closed, how to get out, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Looking at the door, you have a feeling even if you brought the EMP, this thing would have like made aluminum foil out of the EMP, like or a car for that matter.
And there's nowhere else to go down this hallway except for this into
Well,
this lab.
Yeah, it's pretty linear.
well, if that's it, we'll just have to go down the ramp and check out all the life signs that you detect until we find Shouta and Strikeout.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll find them before we reach this really big, powerful thing. Or if we reach this really big, powerful thing, we see it before it sees us, and then I can zap it. That would be cool.
That works. So I guess we're going to go into the room and actually before I'm wondering if I should go in the room first and do a scan for the security systems and things, and have Mother Nature on the outside. But on the other hand, if the door automatically shuts and splits us up, that's not necessarily a good thing either.
But then we know we need to start kab- trying to kablam, shablam the door. At least I'll be on the other side to call for reinforcements.
Okay. I guess then I'll walk in first and see if I can connect to the security systems and things from the other side, and see what happens.
Okay. Uh, Mr. Bitts, as you walk through the door, nothing happens. You're standing on the catwalk on the other side of the vault door. You look at your phone. Connection's a little dodgy. It's having difficulty finding things that it didn't have finding a few minutes before. Which you figure as you look around the room and this massive metal door, and you look up and there's a huge irised, almost like a missile silo, irised hole that's closed, but that's solid steel or some other material. Um, you'd wager that this being a sheltered kind of structure would probably jack with your signal. That's probably it.
Okay. So there's no way for me to try to hack the
Uh,
internal cameras or security system.
you can try, but bear in mind again, this is a like encryption, the kinds you've never even comprehended existing at this point in time. As far as you're aware, this is multiple factors deeper than even the government is using. But
Is
you're more than welcome to, as Matt Merther says, you can certainly try. I said Merther, didn't I?
Marthar? Yes, that Math Marthar.
Matt Merther. Matt Merther. There's my Hanford. As Matt Mercer always says, you can certainly try.
Okay. I will try. And I don't think I did well. I rolled a 13.
Yeah, no, it's you're fumbling with how even to approach. It's all of your normal tactics like don't even.
Normally a 13 would be awesome, but I guess this is some next level shit.
That's basically what it is. No, like 13, you're like, yeah, I'm coming at you with like all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna get into your details. I'm gonna get all up into your security cameras, and you just like Wile E. Coyote ran smack into the side of the cliff, and I'm like, oh, it's like that. Oh, okay. Um, well, shit.
Oh, are there any signs? It's in this area, or is it completely blank?
As far as that's a good point. As far as you can see, there is absolutely no signs, no markings. There's a door. You can see the first door relatively clearly in the dim light. There's a camera above it, a little keycard reader, um, and a couple of lights above it. But that's about it,
I
really.
wonder if there's a key card reader. There are people with key cards. You don't think there'd be people with key cards on the other side of the museum, do you? Of the laboratory, the museum part.
Is that a
I'm
question for me or to Mr. Bird
To
or
Mr.
Mr. Bird?
Bitts.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think employees would want to go through the museum. Although I guess if maybe they brought their families,
I mean,
but
probably
then
the
would they bring
people
their key
with
card?
a key card that can access things on this side, they're most likely somewhere in this side.
Right.
But what if we were to get lucky? I don't suppose there'd be any chance of us getting lucky. Catching somebody like on a lunch break who likes to go to the gift shop? I don't know. We'd have to get awfully lucky.
Do me a favor, Mother Nature, roll a smart check.
And I still get to do my hero dice with that, right?
Of course, yes, yes.
I need all the help I can get. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. A 7.
No, that's good enough. That's all I need. Um,
Sweet.
yeah, unlike DDO or D&D, 10 were being the baseline DC, 7 is its baseline DC for superheroes. So what as you're kind of mulling this out loud, it kind of your brain kind of goes Occam's razor on your own theory, and you start thinking, like in an airport, the people that work in the gift shop don't have TSA level access. Right. Probably not
Well,
gonna
I mean, I
affect
don't
on the
think it's the people
opposite.
who are working in the gift shop. I just thought maybe somebody who doesn't work at the gift shop likes the stuffies at the gift shop, like the little toy telescopes or something. But that's, I mean, it's a wild, you know,
It's one of those thoughts like as
pie
you're
in the
you're you're
sky.
saying it,
Wouldn't it be
it kind of
nice?
starts falling. It kind of starts falling apart as you're vocalizing it. Like, yeah, that's like an
You
employee of
know,
the lab that wants to get
if this was
a
like
toy
that
telescope.
Ocean's 82 movie, there would totally be like part of the heist where somebody just happens to be in the gift shop that we can steal this access card from. But
Oh my
yeah,
god, evens in Discord. Uh, but yeah, if this were an Ocean's 82 movie, that would be the case. Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if our Defenders of the City access cards would work in the card reader.
At this point, are just to clarify, are you still split with one of you on one side of the door and
yeah,
the other on the other side of the door?
yeah, we're
Okay.
Yes.
talking to each other across the threshold for safety reasons. Yeah, at the rate we're going, it'll be Kobold saving everybody. Next week on Stupor Heroes.
Wait, I wrote that completely wrong. Okay. So, yeah, you're talking to the door. You look down. Do me a favor, actually, Miss Bitch. Roll me a perception check. Smart and perception.
Just Mr. Bits or both of us?
He's the only one on the other side of the door.
Okay.
15.
15. Damn, you got like eagle eyes. All right, you look down and you realize as you're thinking about and musing about key cards and such that you see the second and the third door, and those are red, but the first door key card lock is green right now.
So it's unlocked.
That would seem to be the case.
Come on, if I didn't have an extra style, if I didn't have all my style points filled out, that the in peril is worth a style point.
If you weren't already banking all of them, yeah, I would have given you one.
um, all right, and I communicate this to Mother Nature that I think that the door is unlocked. Um,
Down the first door down on the ramp.
yes.
Alrighty, let's just go. I mean, we have no way of knowing how we're going to get out of here. But if we keep standing here at the door, we're never going to find them.
Thulgrin wants to keep the game going, so he's not going to kill us all off at once.
Do you think Thulgrin is down at the bottom of this ramp? Is that his name? Is that the name of the creature?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't actually named the creature at the bottom of the ramp yet.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking Mr. Bitts. He's the one who has these senses about these things.
Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't know either because I don't know. I don't know if you're even going to get that far.
Not tonight, we aren't.
Now, it's going to take us the rest of tonight's gaming session to figure out whether we want to go down or not.
Whether or not we're going to go through the freaking door. Okay.
I'm just giggling because last week there was another hour spent and someone literally threw a bowling ball at it and it was deflected by a katana. I mean, like...
Hey, we're
Just,
trying to
it's an
not
open
play
door,
with
y'all.
meta knowledge.
Oh, I know, but still, it's just like it's an open door.
The monster at the bottom is mere adrenaline.
Okay. So, you said that down the first door or somewhere fairly nearby there was one kind of life signal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to the west.
Oh, let's go check it out. Maybe
Okay.
it's one
I would
of our
agree.
guys.
Okay, here we go. All
Alright.
right.
We're doing something! Whoa!
Something is happening! Yes, well, sort of. You have approached the door. It appears to be unlocked. There's a camera. It is whirring and refocusing on you. Aside from that, it appears to be open.
Okay, we go through the door.
You open the door. All right, we're getting somewhere. I almost wish I hadn't deleted this from last week. There's a 100-foot corridor. Straight, lit with 2 rows of fluorescent bulbs the entire way down. And at the end of it, another door. This one does not curve. You can see both doors from where you're standing right now in the hallway.
Both doors?
Well, you haven't stepped through the one you just opened.
Oh, okay. So
You're like holding one and can see the other.
Hey, why don't you step through this door, Bert?
I'm waiting for like the Geiger counters and the metal detectors and like the luminol, like the entire hallway.
Do you detect anything?
Is the Geiger counter showing any radiation?
Are you stressed?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
Okay, so I luminol the keycard thing.
It occurs to you that people don't actually touch the key card reader. They touch the key cards that go into the reader.
Yeah, but if anything does show up, then that would suggest that somebody's come behind and maybe cleaned it with bleach or something.
Yeah, no.
She's
Much
grasping
like
at
the whole.
straws here.
Yeah, she is kind of like faintly, even knowing that thought comes through. Like, yeah, it's spotless, like too spotless. Still, like there's like you can even like swipe at it with a white glove. There's nothing.
Alrighty.
I wonder if that means that people who go through here are wearing their NBC suits, so they aren't leaving any
Actually,
bodily fluids behind.
you know what? Just for fun, Mother Nature, um, go smart and perception for me, please.
That's a 9.
Okay. You start looking around after the key card. You look at the walls. You look up as far as you can see in the dim lighting around the door and on the rails. You would expect to see some kind of accumulation of rust, dust, grime, just general funk, just of being. Um, Dust of some kind. It is spotless.
And it occurs to
Absolutely.
her that they're wearing these NPC suits, so if somebody else who worked here wore gear like this as a rule, that might be why they don't leave anything behind.
Well, no, you would know just you from just being a mistress of nature. Nature does not approve of cleanliness. It's one of nature's things. Dust, grime, it accumulates. Slime, mold grows. things, fungi, come out.
Ambient humidity.
Ambient humidity creates moisture from which bacteria grow. There is nothing, even on the walls, which are somewhat uneven. Uh, there's nothing.
Is there any sign in this kind of silo of rampage of a filtration system? Vents of some sort?
Not that you necessarily grab with a 9.
Okay. So looking above
Right.
us, she just sees ceiling.
Yeah, well, you're looking through. Remember, you're also looking through the faceplate of the NBC suit, and you haven't picked up on anything yet. Let's put it that way.
I get this feeling that if we didn't wear NVC suits, we may be able to see more things.
No, it's more you rolled a 9. I'm not used to it.
Okay, okay. All right, let's go down this hallway. You saw somebody down this hallway, right?
He
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go through the door.
Are both of you going through the door?
Yes.
Are both of you approaching down the hallway?
Yes.
Good. That makes this really fast because absolutely nothing fucking happens. You walk down to the other end of the hallway,
Okay.
and there's another door.
And it's just a hallway and a door.
Yeah, it's a hallway with 2 fluorescent light
No
bulbs.
choices other than going through the door or not going through the door. Those are our only choices.
Yeah, 2 rows of fluorescent bulbs. I should point that out. It's not 100-foot fluorescent bulb. That would be impractical. Yeah,
Ooh,
2 rows of fluorescent
can
bulbs.
we? Can you give me a boost, Bert, and we try to see if we can unscrew one of the fluorescent bulbs and take it? I just want to see if we can fiddle with anything in this facility.
Okay, sure.
It's
All
been
right.
so pristine and with a lack
I'm
of
gonna need.
entropy that I just want to see if we can disrupt the model at all.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to roll your fast plus. We'll say either athletics or acrobatics, your choice. Mother Nature. As you're basically, old school. Mr. Burt's is down on one knee with his fingers laced, creating a boost for you to step into, lifting you up into grab
It's a
the
good thing
bulb.
I looked. I could have sworn I had a 6 acrobatics, but it's only 4. A 9.
9. Okay, more than enough. You reach up and you might, as soon as you reach up and you realize, yeah, fluorescent bulbs aren't screwed in. They just kind of like get in with spring-loaded prongs. And so you grab the bulb. With your NBC suit glove, you don't notice. I mean, you kind of generally vaguely feel some warmth through it, but whatever. And you grab the bulb and pull it out, and you now have a fluorescent bulb,
Cool.
which will make an exceptionally loud popping sound if you smash it over someone's back, like they do in amateur wrestling all the time.
So we just wait, stand there for like a minute, nothing happens.
I mean, every once in a while, the other bulb kind of flickers a little bit, but no, that's it. Just that one, just the one that you didn't mess with, that was paired. It's
All
like
right.
almost as if it were like, give me back my spouse. But you know how fluorescent bulbs are like that. If you don't have both bulbs
March
in there, they're just kind of weird.
March puts the bulb down on the floor in the middle of the hallway.
Okay.
And then let's go through the door.
Bert takes off, humming the sound to Get Smart as he's walking down this hallway.
Okay. Well, you're already at the end of the hallway. I assumed you were at the door whenever you were messing with the bulb, or did this happen in the middle of the hallway between the 2 doors? Just curious for clarification.
I think it was in the middle.
Okay,
When we open the
in
door,
the
is
middle.
there another hallway?
No, no, you don't. Actually, as you open the other door, there is a very, very stark reception area in which a extremely bored-looking woman with red hair kind of looks up at you. At this point, she's got a piece of gum that she's very loudly smacking, like she's rather irritated as she looks up at you. You do notice, though, that for this quote-unquote reception area you're walking into, um, to the left there is one, or the floor and the walls and the ceiling are all stark white. To the left there is one painfully sad and obvious potted plant that is fake. And it's kind of drooping a little bit. There is a desk which has a computer on it, behind which sits, and I'm going to use the same reference that I used last week, someone who's a shocking lookalike to Emily Deschanel. And I'm going to grab the.
Marge kind of whispers to Mr. Bitts, "Do you want to try to hack that computer?"
Well, I think I want to do a quick check to see if now that we've come down this hallway a ways, whether we're close enough to get any kind of feel for Shota or Strikeout.
Hold on, let me do some checking here.
Or is this the life form you were detecting?
This you can tell this is
Yes.
the life form you were detecting. This was the glitter form.
So
Kind of looking up
disappointed.
at you with that kind of expression, like, ah, really? Um, and let me do some double checking here. Oh hell no! Yeah, no. Yeah, that wasn't ominous. No, you have no detection of Strikeout or Shota
Do I
at
see
this
any
point.
other life forms other than the receptionist?
That's give me your smart plus telepathy and hero, and this is going to be a stupid retarded DC.
Yeah, I rolled a 12.
Yeah, no, no. You kind of like scan around, and far as your mental thought perception goes, uh, you're the only three people in existence, which is
Marge
almost disturbing.
Marge like walks really like urgently up to the receptionist's desk and she just kind of exclaims, "What are you still doing here? Didn't you get the notice? You
She
shouldn't
kind
be
of looks.
here without safety gear."
She looks kind of bored at you and goes, "What notice is that? Is that the one about the exterminators?"
No. It's the one about the leak.
What leak?
There's an evacuation. You need to get away from your desk right now. It is not safe for you to be here. Or
Give me
you should
your
put on a
charming plus
suit.
your charming plus deception. You know what? I'm going to give you your deception with a buff. So roll it twice and take the higher of the two.
Goody. I thought you were going to make me do persuasion.
No, no, persuasion is if you're not lying.
It means I get to trade up my dice.
No, no, it's a very simple thing. Persuasion, truth. Deception, lying. You are lying through your teeth.
And it's buffed?
Yeah, your deception is because you're in an NBC suit.
Alrighty.
You,
16.
oh my god.
And I had 15 the first time.
Holy shit, you rolling in with some mad hots.
Apparently, the purification I did on my dice before the session tonight has been working because they've been pretty decent. I've only rolled 1 1 so far.
No, you just jinxed it.
Of course. Or I'm just going to roll ones all D&D this weekend, like last weekend.
Oh my god, that was so funny with the squid. All right, she kind of looks up at you. Like you can see there's a like she doesn't believe what you're saying, but she turns to her computer and starts to go clickety clackety, like she's gonna check
No, there's not time for
what you're
that.
saying. At this point, Mr. Bits, would you like to try and hack her computer and make a leak story up?
Marge is just like,
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
it's like,
All right.
it's almost like people want to die of radiation poisoning.
All right. Go ahead and roll your smart plus hacking and your hero. Actually, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll.
Ooh, 19.
That's a really, really exceptional roll that you totally burnt as you pull out your phone and you hit the on button, the power button. You slide your thumb across the your particular lock pattern, which for the sake of this story that works through an NBC glove. Shut the fuck up. It does. And you look at your phone, and you remember what the NES cartridges look like whenever you or Sega cartridges look like when you plugged them in wrong and turned it on, and it was just all gobbledygook and gobbledage.
Oh, my poor phone.
That's what it looks like right now. Like the home screen, you haven't even done anything. You unlocked it, and it went blah.
All right, I simply want to step forward then and disconnect the network cable from the back of the computer.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. You just walk over and unplug it. It's a standard Cat 45. Yep. Tunk.
You need to go.
Wow. All right. I didn't specify intimidation as a skill, did I?
It really
That'd be
should
more.
be.
Yeah, that's more gonna be.
Persuasion?
It would be persuasion, but in this case, it's actually deception because he is lying.
Okay.
He doesn't have a reason to make her go. Um. So what I would need Mr. Bits to do is roll charming plus deception plus hero.
One
And,
sec, I actually need a third D6.
and can he make it buffed if he makes his Geiger counter go crazy?
She necessarily wouldn't need to know what. She'd have to know what that means, basically.
I think most people know what the sound of a Geiger counter is from TV.
13.
Yeah, but he came in with the Geiger counter. like you're bringing the threat in. Like okay, 13. Um, she just kind of looks at you, um, stops typing like mid keystroke, looks you dead in the face, doesn't like shift her skull, just kind of like eyeball shifts up, and goes, "Really? And why is that?"
Because there's a leak in the main reactor and you're going to die if you don't get out of here.
At that point, she smiles and goes, "Is there now? Is that like the exterminators that just came through here an hour or so ago, triggered some alarms and tried to run away?"
I think we know what happened to Shouta and
She
Strikeout
holds
now.
up she just takes the visitor clipboard and holds it up to you. And, oh, it was written down in Strikeout's character file, what he actually signed his name as.
He signed it as Jesus Quinta what's his face?
Oh, that's right. Jesus Quintana, Exterminator.
Of Strikeout Exterminators.
Yeah, Jesus Quintana, Strikeout, and Exterminators. It's in here somewhere.
Scroll through character sheets.
I know, right? It's in here. I saw it.
Okay, Jesus Quintana of Strikeout Pest Control.
And then above that was some John Blark. Didn't really specify.
From like a year before or something.
Oh no. This is Shota's, who was some bullshit name.
Oh, okay.
And then before that, the previous entry was in 2013. Which yeah, was a while ago.
All right. So we know that they aren't here, that they were here, but they ran away. So let's leave. And as we go, we will limit over how she is going to shrivel and die.
As you are you departing?
No, I am actually going to do an information overload, but I'm
Oh
going
shit!
to hold a
Ooh.
die, and I am basically going to make her think or make her believe that there is a nuclear disaster ongoing.
Wait, so is this information overload like a direct attack, or are you just going to use telepathy and try and plant a thought in her head like a suggestion?
Ooh, do telepathy, because even like a little bit of damage might kill her.
Yeah, civilians are squishy. You do
Okay,
know that
then let's go
from
telepathy.
superhero standpoint, civilians are squishy as shit.
And even, I mean, even if she's just the worst receptionist ever, like very unreceptive, we probably can't
She
kill
doesn't
her.
deserve to have her blown off.
Think of all the PR work we'd have to, homework
Yeah,
we'd have to do.
remember back whenever you were stopping the robbery of that bank, and you were just kind of like exerting a little bit of pressure, and you blew the dude's head clean off, like Scanners style.
I've come a
Like,
long way.
yeah, you've come a long way,
It was
but
so last week, man.
like civilians, like what could not even like affect a hero in any way, shape, or form can literally one shot a civilian.
All right, so I'm going telepathy, and I'm going to attempt to plant the seed that we're telling the truth and that there is a real danger here.
Okay. This is going to happen in a couple of different phases here. First off, being that she knows what she knows. Um, Second off, being you don't. Third off, being she's going to roll and you're going to roll. Difference being you're going to roll the whole thing except for hero at debuff, and she's going to roll the whole thing at buff.
Oh man. But you've got a lot you got a style point thing that you could burn to even one of those out, right?
He's got.
I do.
He's
I do. I
banked
have
on
3 of
style
them.
points.
All right, so I roll the first 2, which is a D8 and a D6, but I roll those debuffs, so I take the lowest of the 2.
You roll the d8 and d6 twice, and take the lowest of each dice. So the lowest d6, the lowest d8.
All right, I rolled a 14.
Okay. Well, hold on. Is that the lowest between the two of them?
Yep.
You rolled.
He is also making up for his rolls on Sunday.
I have
Yeah.
well, no, I have a total of 20 points available to me on these dice. I have 2 D6s and a D8, so I'm rolling a 14 out of 20.
Wait. How do you have two d6s and no. Okay.
D6 is hero.
Right. Yeah, put that one to the side.
D6 is telepathy.
Right. And then d8.
D8 is smart.
Okay. Yeah. Put the d6 for hero to the side.
I did that, and I rolled the first time. I rolled an 8 and a 5 on the
Damn.
d6 and I rolled two threes on the second roll. So I kept the 5 from the d8 from the first roll, which is my lowest d8. No, that's not true. I
Yeah.
kept the 5 when I should have kept the 3. So it should be 12, not 11,
Okay. Okay.
or not
Okay.
14. So 12.
Okay. Okay. That makes more sense. I'm almost about like, God damn, you rolled a almost perfect twice. Like, holy shit. Okay. Not that it couldn't happen, but like, okay. Um.
No,
Okay.
I kept the 5 instead of the 3.
Just making sure.
So
Just making sure. Um. All right. So you reach into her head and you go to plant the thought that this place is unsafe. There's a leak in the reactor, and that she needs to leave. And what you kind of feel, because you're in her mind, you're like poking and prodding and reaching around, and you put this, you plant this seed in her head, and shit, I just control clicked something I shouldn't have, and what you get is in your direct messages. And without breaking eye contact, she looks at you and goes, "Can you plug my computer back in, please? Since you're on that side of the desk."
all right. So that answer is to me telling her that she's in serious danger.
Hmm? You planted in her head, there's serious danger. There's a leak in the reactor. There's nuclear stuff in the air, and she needs to go. And her response was, "Uh huh." And can you please plug my computer
So
back in? Like
okay,
complete
so
blase. Like
Maybe you should have done the other one to her.
scroll back up to the image of Emily Deschanel just a second
She's
ago. Yeah, like
so
that
my
same
least.
expression.
She's
Like
my
just like,
least
uh huh.
favorite NPC so far.
So far. Oh God. Well, you guys had some other stuff happen.
I mean, at this rate, maybe
now was there a door behind her in the reception area? I'm sorry, Bonnie.
that's fine.
No, not behind her. To your right, her left, there is another door. Yes. And another thing you both notice is it's eerily silent outside of your voices. Like every noise you make seems to be magnified, worse than the absolute most claustrophobic hotel bathroom you've ever been in.
All
There's
right, so I reach out to Mother Nature telepathically, and I know it's a one-way conversation, but I let her know that it appears that there really is a leak, that this lady is fully aware of it, and that for whatever reason she has decided she's staying, but that we may have other problems that we have to deal with.
well, it's a good thing we're in suits.
Yes.
Womp womp. When you're that moment when your juke fails and you're like, oh, there, oh shit, okay, oh god.
Huh.
I simply don't plug her computer back in and we walk past her and go through the door behind her.
Well, I was thinking because we looked at the sign-in sheet and we saw the strikeout pest control, which even if Marge doesn't recognize this Jesus Quintana name, she recognizes strikeout.
Right.
Is there a sign out time on the sheet? That
Actually, no.
oh, there isn't. Okay, well,
Does
yeah.
she have a Does she have a landline phone on her desk?
Mm, I would say yes. Actually, she would.
I think we should call the defenders and let them know that there is potentially a nuclear catastrophe in the making here, and that we're going to need some more bodies for, at the very least, for getting the people out of the museum upstairs and clearing the, starting to get people
Should we ask her if
evacuated
we need
out.
to make a phone call, or should we try to restrain her and stuff her under the desk?
Well, you do know this is also called the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but a leak is a leak
Okay.
of nuclear material. I mean, that's not normal.
You're saying this standing next to a person who could be radioactive if he chose to?
I'm
I mean,
not sure
that's
I'm
not normal
understanding
either,
something.
but so um,
I'm just saying at this point, how badly do you want to see if you can hack this computer?
I can try. Everything that we've tried in here though has been above military grade, and I haven't had much luck. But we can try.
and that question
I
is this conversation that's occurring between the two of you in plain sight of Emily, the receptionist,
Or
um,
like we're gonna step aside and discuss the situation. You know,
in the room
I
with no ambient sound to where even a whisper would be heard.
I'm gonna like turn on. We can just turn on the Geiger counter. Like, okay, so like if you get stressed out, right?
well, knowing that there's a radiation leak, I'm probably already stressed out.
But that makes a
Well, the funny thing is,
sound.
you are the radiation leak.
But he's only the radiation. Apparently, his radiation is only detected when he allows it to be detected,
It's not
or
so
when
much that
he's
he
using
allows it.
his
Yeah, it's not so much that
mojo.
he allows it to be detected. It's when he's concentrating and thinking upon it and stressed and going charging it up.
But when
Just
he does
idly.
that, the Geiger counter should be making a noise,
Yeah, yeah.
filling up a ambient sound that masks us talking about the
You're
situation.
going to use the Geiger counter as a noise filter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless there's something
Um,
weird about this room that makes the Geiger counter not make noise, even though it should.
No, 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 it does. No, it does.
Okay.
Although what you're describing, you have to communicate to Mr. Bits to do.
Well, she can say, you know that thing that happens when you're stressed? And then she kind of looks at the Geiger counter, like eye motion.
and I basically just have to turn the Geiger counter on because as soon as I found out there's a potential leak, um, I'm at least a little bit stressed.
I think this leak is going to make you really stressed, and we should go step aside and talk about it.
Okay.
Since some people aren't being very helpful, and she looks back at the receptionist.
Least favorite NPC ever. All right, so you duck into the corner of a basically stark white empty room and turn the Geiger counter on. And as soon as you do, it starts just from ambient stress. And Mr. Bits, do you ramp it up? Like, what are you doing here for this?
I'm trying to keep it at a level where we can have a conversation, but that it is drowning out our conversation so that the receptionist can't hear it.
So,
Okay.
I said, so talking her away from her desk has failed. How badly do we want to get access to the computer workstation or the phone or whatnot? Do we want to try to not render her unconscious? or
I
make,
mean, I mean, I can try information overload and pull a die
there's always
and
the
try not
risk
to blow her
that,
head up.
yeah, that's the thing is it's a risky proposition. So we have to feel pretty strongly that the need was there to, or do we just walk away and, you know,
Well, I think
leave?
the other doors were locked, so I think we're kind of stuck. I think we have one path
Well, we
here.
know that they were here. I mean, if the
Were.
alias is anything to go by, or if that strikeout pest control name is anything to go by, that's just that Tyler was here.
Oh, and Mr. Bitts, you totally recognize Shota's really shitty handwriting. Like, that's either him or an excellent forgery.
Well, how do you want to incapacitate her? I mean, I can go about this with information overload and hope that it goes well. Um, we could try to distract her and hit her with something like the plant,
Like the
or
phone.
maybe the keyboard or her phone. Yeah.
I'm over here actively cracking up at the how do you want to incapacitate her conversation occurring in the same room with the person you want to incapacitate.
If I didn't have to have this, suit
I
on,
need both of you to roll stealth for me, by the way. In this
there's
case, it's
no
going to be
stealth. There's no
it's going to
stealth
be
on
no.
these characters.
You're trying to be whispering, so it's going to be a strange but charming plus stealth, and your hero died.
This is so screwed.
To not do things like plot someone's death while they're
We're not
actively
plotting her
listening to
death, we're
you.
plotting her incapacitation.
She's still actively listening to you. You're the only object other than a plant that's potted and dying
Yeah,
somehow.
Well,
but we have the Geiger counter going
if
full
she was
blast. There's
so
no way that she
friendly,
would hear
if
us.
she was more friendly, she would hear nice things being said about her. So maybe if she wasn't such a bitch, she wouldn't have people standing in the same room talking about knocking her out.
Wow! Wow!
And I rolled an 11.
I rolled a 9.
Okay. Okay.
I've got that hissing mom talk, and it's a little bit in pig
Oh
Latin,
my
like
god.
she does in front of the kids.
Oh my god. It's enough with the Geiger counter garble to that she's glaring at your backs. You guys can feel the glare
I mean,
at your back.
how much does this receptionist matter? We can just, do what we want and just push her aside, maybe. I mean, do you
How
think I
about if
do you
I
think I can
how
take
about
her?
how about if I storm towards the door behind her like I'm going to go through, and when she gets up to stop me, you hit her with the phone.
Okay. I was just thinking, if we don't care about. Because, I mean, let's be honest. When we came in that first main big door, there are cameras. If there's anybody here on security, they know we're here. They know we're walking around. It's not like we fooled anybody.
Yeah. And the
So,
fact of the matter is she knows there's a radiation leak and she's sitting here without a suit and refusing to leave, so she's probably going to die anyway.
so why do we don't even have to bother knocking her out. I can just, shove her chair back and try to prevent her from stopping you from hacking her computer.
Okay.
And just do some kind of, maybe I'm pretty strong. I mean, how strong is a receptionist going to be? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, you have to
Actually,
deliver drafts, so
Mm-hmm.
going through the character sheets today, Marge is one of the strongest characters in the group.
Yep.
all right, so we're going to storm towards the desk, and while Marge incapacitates her or holds her down, I'm going to plug the network cable back in and see if I can
Is
hack
is the
into the system.
receptionist, is her chair a rolly chair?
It is rolling, and you watch as you storm towards her, all threatening. You got your shoulders all puffed out and shit. Um,
I was
she's mostly watching
I was
Mr. Bits,
thinking
who's
that Marge would act like, "Hey, I'll help you with that computer plug, but she walks around the desk to the receptionist side and kind of acts like she's going to lean down. And then she whirls the chair around. And then she has both hands on either side of the receptionist with her hands like on the arms. And she just starts rolling the receptionist backward out of the room toward like the hallway that they came in through, as and lets Mr. Bits
Okay.
do what's it, and then she's gonna like just shove her into the hall.
Drop her into the shaft.
Yeah, or not drop her in the shaft, but shove her out of this immediate area, close the door behind her, and just like lean against the door until they're done.
Okay. That's a thing. That's a thing that's going to happen. All right. Um,
We hope it's gonna
simultaneously,
happen.
there's a couple of things that go on. First off, Mother Nature, your actions can take a lot longer than Mr. Bitz's. Mr. Bitz, you plug her computer in, and she says, "Thank you," and you walk into the door. And what you're in is what's called a sound lock. It is a very small, very about 5 foot by 10 foot hallway that is lined on all sides with acoustic reducing foam. So as soon as you walk in, it feels like you've been deafened, just because of the absence of ambient sound. You haven't actually been deafened, but it just feels that way. Meanwhile, uh, Mother Nature, you have walked around the desk and by this time watched Mr. Bits walk into the sound lock, and you spun her chair around and she's looking at you like, okay, the door's open. You know that, right?
To this room.
Yeah.
It doesn't open and shut, does it? Are you saying it doesn't open and shut?
Well, it's shut, but I mean, it's open. Like you can open it.
Uh
Like you're
huh.
like all up in her face, and she's looking at you like, I had garlic for breakfast.
But I'm
Like
wearing a
nothing.
We sh-
suit.
we should
Uh,
get her
Does she have a
security
key
card.
card?
there's no key cards, at least in this subsection. There's no key cards.
So how does she get to
Uh,
work in the morning? How does she get through this door, the door to this
no,
place?
I mean, like the sound lock does not have key card locks.
But like, does the receptionist have a visible key card on her
Not
for
a
ID?
visible one. Not a visible one. You'd have to rough her up to find one.
Can I frisk her?
You're gonna stand her up to frisk her and search her
Key card, key card.
with an NBC suit on.
Ugh, whatever. Just I want to shove her out of her. Get her out of my face.
Like, I'm just saying, like, you're not exactly the most tactilely sensitive, or you don't have exactly the haptic
I know, but
feedback
like I
of a.
feel like it's pretty. Like if it's a key card, it's going to be a solid object, and otherwise
It
there wouldn't
would
be.
theoretically be, but you're also in a. I'm giving a little edge to the NPC because player bias against this particular NPC. She is hated.
I mean, I'm not familiar with these particular gloves, but I know at least through like 2 layers of latex, it would be pretty obvious if something was a card or not.
And usually cards are worn either
Latex?
as a
Oh,
lanyard around her neck
You know,
or
so I'm assuming this
on
is like much thicker gauge of
oh,
like
oh,
rubber-like
yeah. Like,
business, but
no,
still,
wear like 3 pairs of guarding gloves and then try and feel someone for a key card.
I mean,
Like,
if it's not doable, I won't do it.
no, no. This is what I'm telling you. Like, just like as someone who's had to wear one for some stuff. Um, yeah, you small things like you can feel objects like a desk, a table, like a mouse, like not like a living mouse, like a computer mouse, like if you like slap your whole hand on it, but trying to perceive a concealed card on someone's person through these gloves, yeah, that
So yeah,
requires
I'm not gonna bother.
that's just from walking around, you're like, yeah, I probably couldn't do that. Like, I just like smacking her up around the face a little bit, just because. Like, yeah. Unlikely to occur. Let's put it that way. I mean, I'll let you roll if you want to do it.
No,
But
just shove her out of the room.
you're gonna shove her out of the room. Okay.
Yeah, with her chair and everything. Just,
Chair and
out.
everything.
And then I'll close the door and just hold the door closed while, Mr. Bitts is doing his thing.
As you slide her through towards the hall, she just looks at you, strangely deadpan, like this sort of shit happens all the time. And you push her onto the ramp leading down, and close the door. And her chair start. As you're closing the door, you see her chair start sliding down the ramp or rolling down the ramp. She's completely nonplussed, going, "This is unnecessary, and fades into, "This is unnecessary, As she slides down the ramp, and you close the door behind you.
Marge is just very golden rule right now. Or the opposite. Maybe it's more an eye for an eye.
So now, this, I think, is where we're going to call it for tonight, which unfortunately is going to be for a little while because of summer shit. Excuse me. If I remember correctly, Reese, you are in Norway for July the 3rd.
That's correct.
Or, sorry, July 2nd. Sorry, July 2nd. I will have my daughter for July 9th. So we will reconvene on the 16th. Oh my god, that feels so far away.
It is far away.
Far
It's
away.
like 3 weeks.
Oh my god, so far away. And that will
How
be...
will we remember what happened?
I don't
Oh,
know.
someone should have made a recording.
Someone should have recorded this whole thing. Yay! And this time the door was open wide enough that a certain individual could have accompanied you without your without your knowledge. Which I explicitly made a point was not the case the first time you guys came into.
Oh,
The Elephantum.
Elephantum?
It was wide the hell open this time.
I was hoping Elephantum was with the other dudes last week. At one point, I was like, "Oh, I hope Elephantum's here."
Yeah, that was the whole point of making it like seem like it was so narrow. Is like, yeah, you have no Elephantum savior. Like, there's no crab or Elephantum savior coming.
And the signs
to
were gone. You had the labels that it was the Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory last time, I think.
No, it was just the
In the
the
special
signs for
language.
the museum. Oh no, because it was dim. It was dead. You couldn't you couldn't interact with it. It was on the keypad.
Oh, they were dead last time?
No. Last time it said it was glowing up and said Nuclear Particle Accelerator Research Laboratory,
Oh, but
and
this
this
time it was
time
dead and it doesn't
it
say
was
anything.
dead
Okay.
and wide open, which is almost, if you want to get meta, worse.
Yeah, I'm also really curious where Shouta and Tyler actually are.
Yeah, that would be a really good thing to be worried about right about now.
Don't die, Tyler
because
Chan!
because I'm not a dick DM. By the way, I do have something to send to Mr. Bits to add to your character sheet.
Okay.
Tyler was 100% exploration. He wanted all of the rares and the exploration points.
At this point, from just musing around and things, you've kind of figured it out at least. We'll bring that up in the next session as to whether or not you use it or how you use it.
Part of my
Okay.
shoving the receptionist out of the room was, to give Mr. Bitts a chance to mess around with the computer at her desk once he checked out the other door.
We'll see if he does that or not.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, my bladder is gonna fucking explode.
All
So I'm
right.
gonna call this a close to
Whee!
the session. Yay!
Don't die, everyone.
Don't die.
All
Hey,
right.
Steve!
Bye, everybody.
Bye, dude.